trophy hunting and conservation go hand in hand. They banned hunting elephants in 1974. Their population was around 274,000 elephants at the time. And within 12 years of them banning hunting, 90% of their elephant population went extinct. When you think about the hunting aspect of it, when there's value on an animal, whether it's a deer or an elephant, that now has value. Value then can pay for protection. And most people don't realize this is like, if you stop the hunting, it stops the funding. So who protects the animals? Nobody. See, poachers don't care if there's an elephant ban or not.
By banning hunting, you're erasing the funds to stop the poaching, which will not stop no matter what you do.
And without hunters, there is no animals that survive. There isn't, unless it's funded through something else, which national parks are great, but you can't have a national park everywhere to be patrolled everywhere, because who's going to pay for the patrolling?
I think because we're not just strictly hunters, we can kind of take a step back and say, like, okay, if someone is viewing our video for the first time, is this video going to help or hurt the hunting community? And if it's going to go viral, let's actually then provide a lot of information on conservation.
When it comes to like rifle hunting, when you see the animal with a rifle, the hunt is over. And with a bow, the hunt is literally just getting started. Like it's almost impossible for you to get to that animal once you see it. Like, that's what most people don't understand when it comes to bow hunting, because you have to figure out the wind. You have to beat them in their eyesight, sense of hearing, smell. They have an aura of a sense of energy. I literally have had animals come over a hill. They can't see me. I'm in an enclosed blind, and all the other animals, like the does, it was a buck, for example, all the does come in. He stands on top of the hill and leaves. He can't see me, smell me, nothing, but he knew something was wrong. And certain animals tap into that frequency. I don't even know how to describe it. People think I'm sound crazy, but I'm telling you, when you see this, like in the wild, like over and over and over again, I mean, there is something about that. And just to get that close with a bow and arrow, it does feel like it's almost impossible. And then it somehow comes together. 95% of the time it doesn't, but man, that 5% is really special.
Well, how about a spear?
Yeah, I did that. We can dive into that one. Sarah's actually there for that.
Yeah,
too.
at least you were 1 for 1 on that one.
Yeah, Is he
allowed to do that anymore?
Is anybody allowed to do that anymore?
I feel like he could, like, in certain situations. And like the thing was with that entire hunt was like, it was fine for a while and until it wasn't. And so, but that was a crazy experience. We were on the ground. We had no backup weapon. Like, we were idiots. Like, why did we not have like some sort of something?
It was a story. Sarah killed a bear.
Yeah.
It was a bear.
Yeah.
So
big
Sarah
black bear.
killed a big black bear like that day. And so we were taking care of it, getting it out of the woods, and then
With a bow.
With a
Yes.
bow.
Yeah.
And so then it started pouring rain. Now, I went to go spear hunting. See, I was an all-American javelin thrower.
No, listen to this how we got this spear up into Canada. Like, the whole thing.
So I was in track. I still hold the university record for the furthest throw in track and field at my university I went to. So I literally, my warm up every day was trying to hit a bottle in the field. Like, I would throw my javelin, and that's my warm up. And so I was constantly doing, I'm like, man, one day I really want to go spear hunting. Well, then I find out Canada is looking to ban spear hunting. I was like, oh my gosh. Okay, so I've got to go, like, if I'm going to go. And so I get out the spears that are on the market and I start throwing them, and they're all crap because I threw with too much force and it flexed too much. And so having a javelin background, if you have too weak of a shaft, you won't throw as far. And so I was like, well, it needs to be stiffer. So then I got this like dowel rod, this like it was like a really thick broom handle.
Yeah.
And then I bought a spearhead from Cold Steel, and then I customized it and then made this spear. And then I wrapped rope around it for a grip. Dude, I got really good with this thing. I was like, oh my gosh, I can do this.
You also had it gridded like a football, so you knew every time, like, okay, the third one this way, like, destroyed one of our targets.
Yeah, so I gridded the whole thing to make sure I was extremely proficient with it.
And accuracy to what distance?
So,
just on average.
I could throw it pretty accurately to about 12 yards would be like the absolute max, but 8 to 10, I was like really good. So
you could hit a water bottle
every time
at 10 yards.
Yeah, every time. It would be, I could hit a pie plate every time, but a water bottle, it would kill the animal every time. The bullseye on the animal is this big. So that's where, for me, I was like, with a bow and arrow, my rule is a half a minute of angle at any distance. So a minute of angle for a rifle would be like 1 inch at 100 yards.
Sure.
So in archery, it's 1 inch so every 10 yards. So 10-yard group, whatever. So I hold that same standard with the spear, right? But I take it down a notch. For every yard is 1 inch.
Yeah.
You know, so if I could hold a 10-inch group at 10 yards, then I'm good. Yeah. And so I was practicing. I was like, holy cow, I'm good enough to go. This is going to be great. And so I called around and I found a place that would let me come do this. And so we went up there and I show up with the spears and they ended up coming late. And so God was trying to say, do not do this. You know, he's like, this is a bad idea. And so, because they didn't come late, then the next hunter came in, they brought my spears, and they had to hang out the window. So I'm in camp with all these spears. I didn't even bring a bow because I'm like, I'm going to do this or nothing. And so and the guide wanted to make sure I could do it. And sure enough, he sees me practice. He's like, oh my God, you can actually do this. This is going to be crazy.
Because there are a lot of spear hunters that just like sit in a tree, drop the spear. There's not very many that are on the ground, mano, like chucking this thing.
Yeah.
Like a
Throwing it like
there's
a
not,
Yeah.
and she says a lot. There's like 2 people that can drop spears.
Right.
Not very many.
Is it, and do they drop it or do they actually jump with it? Because
They
I
usually drop
drop
it.
it.
I mean, people have done both, but most people just drop it,
Yeah.
which is way easier to practice, do all that. That doesn't take, you know, it's like throwing darts, you know, but then throwing a dart that weighs 15 pounds, you know, it's very difficult to do that and to throw enough power to go into the animal. And so I get there, I'm doing it, and I'm like, he's like, oh my God, we're going to do it. I'm like, but I want to do it on the ground. I'm like, I don't want to do it in a tree. I want to do it on the ground. He's like, you're stupid. What are you talking about? These are bears. Like, what do you, I'm like, he's like, we got to be within 10 yards. And you want to do this on the ground? I'm like, yeah. He's like, okay. And so he sat with me with a 12 gauge slug shotgun every time. Right?
I was about to say,
every time.
Yeah.
And
Except for. Yeah.
But the day she killed her bear, it started pouring rain. And we get back to camp late. We didn't have time to go to the spot. And I'm like, dude, come on, I want to go. He's like, it's raining. There's no bears. And I'm like, why not? Do you have anywhere close? He's like, remember that first day you sat? I'm like, yeah. You know, the spot where you didn't see a single bear? I'm like, yeah. He's like, that's close by. You can go there. I'm like, okay. He's like, but I'm not going with you because you're not going to see anything. I'm like, fine, whatever. So he drops. Yeah. He was so convinced. First of all, we already hunted it once and there was no bears. We didn't see a single bear. And so when we go, he drops us off. We sit there. And we had put licorice out as like bait, you know, and we get there and the licorice hadn't been touched. And I'm like, oh my God. And it's been like 2 days.
Yep.
And I'm like, we're not going to see anything. So we're just sitting there in the pouring rain. Well, what had happened, little did we know, that spot was a hot spot for bears, but there were no bears because a absolute mammoth of a black bear had moved in, like giant, 7+ feet. And he had ran all the other bears off. He just didn't come in that day. So little did we know, we're sitting there and there's this like mammoth 7+ foot black bear coming our way. And we're like, and we didn't know, and so normally black bear, people listen to this and hunt, black bear aren't that aggressive, you know, and that's true.
Yeah.
But this one was very aggressive and it was crazy because when we watched him come through the timber, he saw us.
I was about to ask, did he, 10 yards, he saw you. He knew you guys were there?
He knew we were there, but it was a weird situation because he was the alpha in this situation. Normally they run, but he didn't. He like stood up on the tree and was like grabbing it with his claws. He was breaking branches and we're sitting there and I'm like, I'm looking and I got a spear in my head.
I have a camera and I'm like, wow, this is great. Like, what am I going to do?
And I'm like, this is not good. Cause now I'm like a part of my husband instinct. I'm like, my wife is here. And I look down, my backup is another spear. I'm like, oh my God, this is so
They're
bad.
really good at climbing trees.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm not getting away from this thing.
Yeah.
So this is a true story. And I'll share a detail of it that makes kind of sense.
I don't care.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was that time of the month for her.
No.
So the
Yeah.
bear.
Oh my
and
gosh.
I swear. Because
story.
no, and that bear circled us. So it was 33 degrees and raining and it was so cold. So we were sitting on the ground. We weren't in a blind. We were just on chairs. I was by a tree. He was by another tree. We were just sitting out like we were camping, just like out in the middle of nowhere. Like, and
You're telling me that Anchorman was telling the truth? Bears can actually know when
They know.
it's that time of the month?
100 no,
So
100%.
he literally started hunting us.
Yeah.
He was circling us within
What?
8 yards, like within feet of us. At one point, he had almost came right up to us. And for me to be able to throw a spear, his vision, he can't be looking at me because it's too much movement and he'll see it. And he has to be in front of me. He's got to be broadside. There's a lot of factors. So I'm like freaking, I don't know if you ever seen the movie The Edge.
Yeah,
Where
I have.
Falls on
That's
the
exactly what's going on in my head right now.
That's literally what I thought I was going to have to do. So I'm like waiting for this bear to attack me, and I'm just going to brace myself for this thing.
Rear up and land on it.
That's literally,
right.
I'm like, just wait. And you watch the video. I cut so much of it out. And so,
and there's a GoPro on the spear. So that adds to the fun.
This is,
So I'm filming.
If you pause this real quick, this is actually really cool. So this is after 2 hours of him circling us.
Have you ever experienced anything with black bears?
not like
They're-
this.
Like,
I grew up in Alaska.
so like it's crazy how big they are.
Mhm.
Silent. You don't hear them walking. And of course, so it's wet. So the only time, like he was circling us, but for a while we would lose sight of him for like 20 minutes. And then because it was raining, he would shake like a dog and we would catch.
We would see him.
We would
And
see him.
He's deep into the brush looking
Just
at
watching.
us. But we'd see the water go like
Yeah.
this off of him.
Yep.
And he was like waiting for us. Dude, it was crazy.
But making no sound, just like quietly walking. And so the only reason we kind of would know where he was because he would shake like a dog and get all that water off him. Then he'd go still.
That's
So
Yeah.
So that barrel there you could see in the video. So that spot, there's actually feed in that barrel. So that's how they hunt bears.
so that's
in
the
Alaska.
station. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
And so that's how they hunt bears because it's too thick. You can't really spot and stalk them up there in that deep timber. So they bait them like this, which is totally legal and fine. And so my plan, you can see where my feet are. There's a trail right there. So I had raked everything off. So my goal was if he ever went behind the barrel, I would come up and then spear him.
Uh-huh.
And so, but where he was really far. Like this is the furthest throw I was.
Is that
ever gonna
12
make.
yards?
Yeah, it was all of 12, maybe 13,
Uh-huh.
which is a lot further than I wanted to throw because where we had put the licorice was a lot closer. So that actually was pushing almost probably 14 yards where I end up throwing. And so where he put the licorice in the other part of the food, it's so funny, was a lot closer. But I knew because he had circled us so much and he was so apprehensive on coming in, I wasn't going to get my shot. And so I'm like, this is going to be my only chance. So whenever I went to throw, so you could play the video now, I actually was focusing a foot above him.
Oh
So
my
I picked a spot a foot above his back, and that's where I threw to because I knew that would be about how far it would be for it to drop.
Oh my God.
And that blade is 16 inches long and 5 inches wide.
Look at it. Oh my word. It
Broke off on the tree.
completely got him though.
Yeah. So that,
Oh, see, this video is different than the original. The original shows your reaction where you're like,
yeah. Yeah. It's hard to find the original because, well, people don't, they're hearing this story for the first time. Like, oh, that sounds so cool. Well, the rest of the world didn't think so.
Oh no,
because
I remember when this circulated.
It was like global. CNN, Fox, Forbes, all of them did news articles on this, made us out to be these sadistic monsters. And again, you watch my reaction. I look like a serial killer. I'm like celebrating. I'm like, but to me, I'm still the little college kid that was throwing javelin, and I just accomplished something that was almost impossible. Like I'd never seen anyone else ever.
1,000. Look at that. You must be to sign it.
Yeah.
That's gotta. I'm surprised you found it at all.
Yeah.
Like honestly,
Yeah.
and that is. Oh man.
I remember showing you this video.
Yes.
A long time.
Dude, how long ago was this?
That was
20
2016, I think.
2016.
Yeah.
I was
Yep.
gonna say it must have been at least 5 years ago.
Yeah.
At least since
Yeah.
this happened. And I just remember thinking at the time that's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my whole life. Having hunted and then later on in my life done archery and bow hunted, I appreciate how hard it is to get within 20 yards and to even make that happen is hard. I'd never even heard of urban hunting or spear hunting. I didn't even know you could do it.
Yeah.
You said you had to go up to Canada. Is that because
It's not legal.
Not legal.
It's probably legal in maybe a couple states here in the United States, but there's no bears there.
Sure.
In Alaska, you can still spear, I think.
At
But
least you can for caribou.
yeah,
like
so
some animals.
yeah, you
Yeah.
can still spear in Alaska. That's true. But in Canada specifically, I didn't have much experience with Alaska and brown bear hunt or black bear hunting.
Mhm.
I knew Canada was like a hot spot for black bears, and so that black bear ended up being 7 feet 2 inches. That's just from the tail to his nose. So he was over 8.5, almost 9 feet if you would go from standing up. I mean, it was a giant. Like I'd hunted
Crazy.
many black bears.
Big black.
I'd
bear.
never killed one that big with a bow ever. And so I'd never even seen one. So I got very fortunate. It was, as you could hear with the circumstances of how we ended up hunting in that spot, it was very interesting. But the reason why the reason why that went viral is there was the UK put an article out of sadistic American murders and leaves bear to suffer. And so a bear can run 30, 40 miles an hour really fast.
Right, yeah.
And he made it 60 yards. So he literally was dead within 4 seconds. Because what people don't realize when you see that blade and I can show you guys a picture of.
Oh, I can see he's
blade.
hemorrhaging. It went
Yeah,
into
so-
him. He's
Yeah.
going. He's gonna die.
The other thing that people don't realize is it went in at an angle like this, like in the middle of his body, and it actually hit him in his offside hip. So if this is the bear and this is the spear, he went running through, and what happened was he hit that spear on a tree, and so it went like this.
Oh, so it gutted him.
Oh, yeah.
right. I mean,
when we found it,
yeah.
the outfitter has said he'd never seen hemorrhaging or like trauma like that of any kind on
like
any
faster
bear.
than a rifle, maybe.
Wait, he said
yeah,
it did way more damage than any rifle he's ever seen. And so that's a humane way for the animal to go. I mean, it's fast, it's quick. He was dead within 4 seconds, but we didn't go look for it that night because it was raining. And so even if the off chance that it was still alive or other bears move in, when it's wet, you don't hear them coming. And so what bears do when they're wounded or anything, they'll circle back on their own track and then wait. And so then when the animal that is tracking them goes on their track, they'll jump and then kill it.
Oh my word!
so-
Seriously?
Oh, yeah.
So,
Leopards do it, bears, like
yeah,
all
a lot of
predators.
predators do that. They'll circle on their own track and then wait.
I didn't know that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow,
And
that's daunting.
Yeah.
And then no one
Yeah.
ever tracks bears at night because other bears will come in and they're all territorial. They're investigating, and it's a great way to get eaten.
Well,
So we
that-
waited till the next morning, and we go in, we find them right away. And then what the article said was, oh, they let the bear suffer for 12 hours, and it just was all misconstrued and not true. And but it was crazy because then Under Armour gets involved. So Sarah was an Under Armour athlete.
In a good way or in a bad way?
Oh,
the
well,
worst. Bad for them.
really bad.
Real
for them.
bad.
This is a
Okay.
great story. This will be really fun. Some banter back and forth with this.
Yeah.
But so Under Armour posted me with the spear, said history is
Well,
made. They
what-
were all about it because
They were all about it in January. So we did this in May. In January, because they had, I don't know really if they sell much in the hunting space anymore, but they had a huge women's team. And so I was on the women's hunt team. It's not like they sponsor me to surf or anything, like, okay, you hunt, we make camo. This is what we're doing. We have this women's team. And then they took care of him. So they're like, we obviously want you both to match, and you're Under Armour, go where you
100%.
belong. And so when we saw them at ATA in January, and then when we saw them at SHOT Show in January, we said, we're going to do this. Are you guys good with it? Yeah, do it. High five. We also have someone that we want you to go to. We went to an Under Armour outfitter.
that
They
was
recommended
sponsored
it.
by Under Armour.
Yeah, they recommended
So,
this outfitter to us.
This
And-
is all important.
Were
with
you
where the
wearing
story
this when this was?
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So they.
Yeah.
Fully.
Okay,
Oh,
so
yeah.
you were decked out.
Totally decked out.
This is really, really
all Under
important
Armour
with
on.
what's
Yeah.
coming.
And
So,
no, literally. And so then they post him like the bloody hands and the spear. They liked all the photos. They commented. We had the VP of marketing texting him like, yeah, dude, badass hunt.
Great job.
So glad you were Under Armour during that. And then it was fine for like 3 months. And then the Daily Mail picked it up and they reached out to us for a comment on the situation. And we were just like, comment on what? Like the hunt's on YouTube. Like, what do you need a comment for?
Right. Yeah.
We had no idea what it was going to do. But because Under Armour plays in so many different industries, they have all these like European teams that these soccer teams and all of this that don't know that they even sell camo. And so it's very taboo for a lot of these European companies. And so then Under Armour starts getting pushback from these very big soccer and Premier League teams of, you need to drop these people. You need to make a stance against hunting. This is so cruel. This is so inhumane, all this stuff.
gosh.
yeah,
Oh.
dude, it got bad because
Bad.
then they were like, because we were wearing Under Armour. And so like all these soccer teams said, we're going to drop you as our sponsor if you don't address this, because it went viral very quickly.
I remember.
in the UK.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
And so then PETA gets involved, like,
And the Humane Society.
and the Humane Society sending letters to Under Armour. So they're feeling all this pressure. So then they made a very big mistake. And so then they go on and they make a statement saying, we do not condone spear hunting. And that was the biggest mistake, because as the hunting community, it was a legal spear hunt. There was nothing wrong with it. And so what's next? They gave into the pressures of the anti-hunter. And that's what we did on Twitter at the time. So we made a post, hey, just let you guys know, Under Armour gave into the pressures of gave into the pressures from the anti-hunters, and they have dropped us. And you guys do what you want with that information, but we'll no longer be wearing Under Armour.
Well, prior to this, so this happened on Monday. We had several days of phone calls with them. And I mean, we're like very fresh in the hunting industry at this point. Like,
We weren't well known by any means. I
No.
mean, sort of. I mean, we had a decent following, probably the largest in Instagram back in the day,
Yeah.
like 100,000 followers or something.
but I
So-
mean, like you see our content, like it's very homemade. I was filming, it's
Back in the
very
day.
different. different, than it is now. And so it's not like we had a crisis team. We didn't have lawyers. We didn't have a PR team. So we were leaning on Under Armour because, of course, they have a PR team. They know crisis management and they know all this stuff. And so for them, they were just like, just stay quiet. Don't talk to any news people. Because we had news sources showing up at our front
Literally.
door.
No
way.
Oh, yeah. Yes, we had
And they're-
1,500 death threats that week.
Dude,
Oh my gosh.
Several of them handwritten, put in our mailbox.
with no stamp.
Signed in blood.
Dude.
Yes.
It was crazy.
Dude,
Oh my
insane.
gosh.
Like,
Dude, people are ridiculous.
I
Yeah.
love. They never aired it, but there was a news crew that came out and they said, "What do you have to say for yourself for wounding that bear and leaving it?" I said, "You stay right here 1 second. I'll be right back." And I went and got the spearhead and a broadhead. So the broadhead's like this big that goes in the air, and the spear is 16 inches long, 5 inches wide, the monster blade. And I had it behind my back like this. And so I go to the front door, and I said, "All right, you said
What's
that I
you gonna
wounded the
do?"
bear." And they're like, "Yeah, we want a statement from you on what you think about this." I said, "This is what I killed the bear with." And there's this giant spear. It is threatening. I didn't mean it to be threatening.
Oh my
But
gosh.
to her, it was threatening. So she's like, backpedaling, the camera guy's freaking out. And I'm like, "Oh no, I didn't mean it." I said, No. I said, "I killed him with this. This is this is the average broadhead that goes on a bow and arrow. Which one do you think would kill a bear faster?" And she's like, "Oh, well, we just want," I'm like, "No, I'm asking you a question. Which one?" And she pointed to the spear. I said, "Yes." I said, "The bear died in 4 seconds. That's my statement." And then they never aired it, but I didn't realize it came across so threatening, but it was kind of fun. So I had a good time with it.
But so Under Armour's kind of like walking us through this whole thing. Because mind you, like we had a great relationship with them. Like we were friends with them. We just went on a fishing trip with like their whole social media team. It was crazy, like how invested we were. It was like, because obviously they have fitness clothes. And so it was, and they have fishing. So we're like, we're Under Armour, everything, hunting, fish, fitness. This is great. And how cool that a big company like Under Armour can get into hunting. So it was just synergistic. So this whole thing starts happening. And then they ended up having a phone call with us. I'll never forget. It was Wednesday night of that week. And we were on the phone, and I so wish I had been recording it, but like now it is what it is. Right. And so we were on the phone with them, and they're like, "We're going to have to let you guys go." And we're like, "But why?" I'm like, "Well, yada, yada, yada." Verbatim, one of them says, "We wish you had done something wrong because this would be a lot easier." So like, you're letting us go for nothing? For nothing.
And so you backtracked it earlier in the podcast when we said they told us it was great. They wanted to be a part, because I told them like, "Hey, I'm going to do this. This could be something really big. If you don't want to be a part of it, I'll wear something different."
Well, they did the image of you with both hands on the
They did.
spear. Like, I
On
mean,
their
that's pretty
page.
damning
Of course.
content.
Right,
Because you're going
right.
to backpedal out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course we screenshotted all of there and
Yeah.
shared all of those
Yeah.
things, of
Yeah.
course.
Like, what was
Didn't
this?
support it.
If it
Yeah.
was,
But
Yeah. Mhm.
But what you guys probably don't know, in the hunting community, they got our back. Everyone started burning their Under Armour clothes. It was freaking insane. So Under Armour's stock like tanked.
Plummeted.
It plummeted,
Wow.
and then their whole hunting line eventually just went away.
Yeah.
And so like they went from like 50 people down to like a couple, and then the whole thing is gone now. And
did it
so-
ever come back?
No.
So that ended the Under Armour hunting line.
It was this, I think it
It
was
was
the catalyst.
The
It-
catalyst is because they were,
Yeah.
yeah, Sarah's right. It was climbing. It was becoming like the cool thing to wear.
Well, it
And
fit
then-
great. They had one of the only lines for women. The camo itself was very, it was very like nice and well known. Yeah. But I think
It's
I
huge.
I just don't
It
think
was a
they thought it
giant.
through, because like so many people, again, supported Under Armour specifically, and then their kids also played soccer and their kids played baseball. Oh, well, who are you going to support, Nike or Under Armour? Well, Under Armour, of course, because they have hunting, and that really aligns with me. Well, then that all stopped when all of this happened. And I mean, to this day, people still talk to us like, "Oh, we don't wear Under Armour because you," and I'm like, that was 10 years ago. Think about, and that's just
It's-
one person,
it's
you
kinda
know?
cool.
Well, it's also
Yeah.
the precedent that it sets. There's a
Right.
lot of people that don't go hunting that would hear about this and be like, "Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like the fact that these,
They just gave in.
yeah, the angry gay Europeans got you to
Yeah,
change your entire thing, and now
exactly.
you're going to backpedal out of the hunting community." No, I don't like
Right.
that. I'm not going to wear
Right.
Under Armour anymore.
Yeah.
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 And that's what we
That
said. Like, you can't be half pregnant. So you're either in the hunting industry and you back, again, if you sponsored me for surfing and then I went on a bear hunt, okay. But you sponsored me to be on the women's hunting team. You sent us a group of 8 girls out to Utah to hunt in Under Armour. You sponsored him. You told us where to go for this hunt. And then all of a sudden it was like, whoa. We didn't really mean that. You know?
And it's such a cool, fresh new thing. I mean, women in hunting and women as, athletic women in hunting, especially at the time. I mean, that had to have been like really cutting edge. That was like a
Yeah,
brand
it
new.
was. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
still
for
don't see a
sure.
whole lot of it now. It's becoming a little bit more popular with women in hunting, but it really hasn't been a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, until honestly then. They kind of were the people that were pioneered bringing like attractive, fit women into hunting.
Yeah.
And so they did their part, but then they made a fatal mistake. And we told them, I said, the hunting community is not going to forgive this.
We literally said, "Are you sure?"
I told him, I said, the hunting community will not forgive you. Because I said, I'm like, okay, you don't condone spear hunting that's legal. What, is rifle hunting the only means of an ethical kill now? I said, well, what if they're not proficient with a rifle? I said, whether I pick up a spear, a bow, or a rifle, I am very proficient with that choice of weapon. It said it's just the distance that changes. I could shoot an animal with my bow at 100 yards very consistently and easily. I said, I can't throw a spear that far.
Yeah.
I said, it doesn't matter what weapon you use. It goes back to the ethics of your precision. And I said, how are you going to tell me I wasn't precise enough with my weapon? And so the whole point is like, because I'm telling you, I'm way more ethical with that spear than a guy that picks his bow up from the pro shop that sighted in for him and goes out there on a weekend and shoots his bow for the very first time at a deer and shoots it in the ass. And so, and so that's the point. It doesn't have anything to do with the weapon. It has to do with the person shooting the weapon. And so they just didn't buy into the argument at all, and it totally backfired them. So it's kind of a fun start to us, because that was kind of what gave us a black eye in the industry, but they supported us, but we didn't know until later that it put us on the target list of all kinds of crazy stuff. And so, yeah,
I hear that. I hear where you're at with it. It also gave you guys such a niche, known side of the market. I mean, you are known within hunting certainly more than anybody else I've bumped into online. I mean, you guys are so in the front of that, and going through controversy so early on and coming out the other end, that's definitely helped. I don't think it hurt. I think it definitely put you guys on the map.
Yeah.
It definitely helped. Looking back, like none of the big companies wanted to work with us after that, after they saw like millions and millions of dollars in the stock market crash from Under Armour. Like Yeti wouldn't work with us, and
Companies that play in
both
multiple
worlds. Like,
arenas.
Sure.
We had a deal. We were working with Yeti. It was going to be great. And that's when we did sponsorships. And so after that, and then all this other stuff, we're like, you know what? We're just not doing sponsors ever. And so we just went sponsor free. And I said, we're just going to make content about the animal and about the hunt itself. And for the hunting industry, with what a lot of the hunting world is, it's all about sponsorships. Now, I sponsor people with our products in our company, and I expect them to promote my brand. But what happens is all these influencers in the hunting space and TV shows, they over leverage sponsors. They get more because it's where they make their money.
Sure.
So then the entire show or episode is about what they used instead of what they hunted. And
I've noticed that.
And
it's like a lot of focus on the equipment and less on the hunt. Yeah.
I've drawn back my Matthews bow and I made this 20-yard shot. I couldn't have done it with any other bow ever. Oh my goodness. I smoked him because of this PSC and this broadhead, and oh man, this camo, he couldn't see me, and it's just like, let's just hear about the deer, like this is ridiculous. And it feels so forced and I hate it.
Yeah.
And the community has pushed back on it quite a bit now, which I appreciate. So it helps with us with our social presence and things like not going crazy. But I do promote my own products now, like Beast Broadheads and our nose button and other things. But I don't ever make the episode about it. If it's relevant, then it is. Like if I make a shot and it's marginal, for example, and the animal expires quickly, well, that's great equipment testament, right? Maybe it took a step when I took a shot or something. And so then it's relevant, so it gets brought up. Yeah. But for the hunting things, it just makes it a little harder.
It does seem like there's not just exclusively you guys' story, but there's a lot of misunderstanding around hunting in general that I think, because you're not the first story where the community got outraged at something someone did and then, ended in a financial toil or whatever it is.
Sure.
What is the role of conservation and specifically hunting as a hunter? But for people who don't have the education, what is the importance of hunting on conservation and on the environment?
It's the most important.
Oh my gosh, we can.
So I think it's kind of interesting. So I was actually a vegan when I met Josh, and
this is a true story.
I heard.
And so because of that, and because he converted me to being a bow hunter, whatever. But I think because we play in so many arenas, it's not just we're not just hunters. We hear feedback from all over. And so
both hunters and
hunters. And I think just our platform and just like the way that Josh can tell stories and write scripts and things and just really like explain how it all works and how it all comes together. And then like just seeing it. Like we have captured some really amazing things, like in Africa donating meat and these animals and how they interact with this like animal human conflict. But I mean, to your point, like it is the most, I think, because we're not just strictly hunters, we can kind of take a step back and say like, okay, if someone is viewing our video for the first time, is this video going to help or hurt the hunting community? And if it's going to go viral, let's actually then provide a lot of information on conservation, because like we've spent almost 7 months in Africa. Like we've been
spent a lot.
almost 6.
That's where
Yeah.
that's where we see a lot of the conservation efforts
Mhm.
at extreme versions.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought this up. I want to share this, especially for people that are on the fence when it comes to the hunting side of things, because I was a lot like those people. I hunted deer. I ate what I shot. Like the whole trophy aspect was kind of gross to me, like trophy hunting.
Mm.
And I know to a lot of your listeners are going to say the exact same thing. I'll going out and shoot something for its antlers. Now I prefer to shoot giant bucks. And I always tell everyone, oh, the bigger ones taste better. But no, it actually is a representation of the challenge that it is to hunt that animal.
Mhm.
And anything that takes harder, or you have to work harder to get, you appreciate more. And so if I made you run to the top of a mountain and back in order for you to earn it, to eat a cheeseburger, like you're going to appreciate that cheeseburger a heck of a lot more. If every time you want a cheeseburger, you had to go do something very difficult. So the antlers just represent age. Age represents maturity. Obviously, the older they are, that's the goal of an archer with conservation, is to shoot the older past its reproductive prime is the goal.
Mhm.
And so in Africa, and I'm not beating around your answer. I just kind of have to frame it correctly to kind of lay the foundation for this, because trophy hunting and conservation go hand in hand. And especially in Africa, we saw this firsthand so many times. And what I'll do is I'll use elephants as an example, because that's the most triggering, I would think, to most of your audience.
Definitely.
Hunting elephants.
Mhm.
You probably sitting over there thinking, I don't know how I feel about that. And everybody here is like, elephant hunting is something that I know I wasn't okay with. And I hunt everything.
Mhm.
And so we had the opportunity to go elephant hunting. And I'm like, oh, I don't know about this. I'm like, because they're family oriented, they raise their children, they mourn each other's deaths. I'm like, this is a
Is it
little
true
weird.
that they're endangered? Is that true, or is that not?
It just
Well,
depends on
this is going to get
certain
really good.
parts. Yeah.
I'm excited to share this with you. So it's because we're doing an elephant hunting video right now. So I'm fresh off the research.
There you
so
go.
This is going to be really fun and very informative. So it was so crazy for me, because when I started doing all my research with this elephant specifically, there's all kinds of studies and case studies that are very obvious what happens when hunting elephants is there and then hunting elephants are banned. And this will be really cool for you guys to be able to pull up the example from Kenya. They banned hunting elephants in 1974.
Mhm.
And so they were getting a ton of pressure from the anti-hunters in the community
Sure.
to shut down elephant hunting. Their population was around 274,000 elephants at the time. And within 12 years of them banning hunting, 90% of their elephant population went extinct.
Whoa.
90.
Well, there's no more value.
And you can validate this with research by all means. Pull this up. Those numbers are very accurate.
How?
And this is where the conservation comes in. So it's important to lay that kind of shocking fact, because there's many countries that did the same thing. But the reason is because with when it comes to animals, this, whether you like it or not, we're constantly growing. We're expanding into their habitat. And so there's always going to be this human wildlife conflict when it comes to people, and because we're expanding. So we're growing into the Amazon, Africa, whatever. And so what happens is these elephants, they are very bad on villages and everything else because they eat so much. So if you're a farmer and a herd of elephants come into a crop, in one night they can wipe out your entire crop.
Which is your
Jeez.
crop for the whole year. for you and your
Most of these
family.
people are sustenance farmers,
Yeah.
which means, they just, they grow what they eat themselves.
Mhm.
And so we just experienced this in Tanzania and saw it firsthand with crop raiding from the elephants. And so these people, they have to battle these elephants. So they line up guards over their crops at night, and they got pots and pans, and these elephants line up and they're ready to like go to war. with
What?
these
They
people.
know they have like
Freaking-
watchtowers and stuff, and then they try to like,
it's
And they
crazy.
fight them with pots and
They
pans.
just
make
try to
noise,
scare
and make
'em off.
noise,
Oh,
and
okay.
scare 'em
Yeah.
and
Does that
all this.
work?
No.
Not
I've
great.
seen
Not
those
really.
elephants flip Jeeps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's-
No, it doesn't work well. But the reason is so you think I'm circling around this, but the point is whenever you have a value on the animal, like say me, I'm paying to hunt an elephant. let's say that specific elephant that I hunted cost $100,000.
I was about to say it's expensive.
expensive.
It's
Yeah.
expensive.
It was
to
in
do
a very
safari.
prestigious part. Most of them are 20 to 60,000, but it's expensive.
Mhm.
So you look at that elephant now has value because it can be hunted. No one's going to pay to go see an elephant and pay $100,000 to do that. And you're like, the tourism and all of this. So first of all, the tourism on national parks, that generates revenue, which that revenue then could go to anti-poaching. Anti-poaching then can keep people from poaching the animals, which it still runs rampant.
Yeah.
And we'll get into some facts and figures on how many animals are poached versus hunted every year and kind of that market. There's a lot that we can dive into this. I think it'll be important to cover a lot of it. But when you think about the hunting aspect of it, when there's value on an animal, whether it's a deer or an elephant, that now has value. Value then can pay for protection. And most people don't realize this is like, if you stop the hunting, that stops the funding. So who protects the animals? Nobody. See, poachers don't care if there's an elephant ban or not.
Okay, so it's coming full circle for me now. I get it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
By banning hunting, you are erasing the funds to stop the poaching, which will not stop no matter what you do. It's exactly the same argument as should guns be allowed inside of people's homes.
it's
Right.
and
Yeah.
Kenya's a great example. They ban hunting. So then all the places that weren't protected, 90% of the population died. Instantly.
Poached. People
Poached.
just go, okay,
Farmers.
great, let's just go in and take them.
Yeah, because
Poisoning them, killing them. I mean,
and the farmers poison them. I mean,
And they poison them to save their crops. They do it for their tusks. Is
no,
that
they're
still
not
a
typically? Yeah.
Oh, the tusks.
the
is-
tusks,
yeah.
the ivory?
That's
It's still a
black
big
market.
thing.
Yeah.
People
Okay.
don't realize that the whole wildlife trade is a $20 billion industry on the black market.
On the black market.
On the black,
So that's the
20
illegal.
billion. And so
Whoa.
But
that's-
then you also have, but then it's not just tusks. I mean, you have like meat poachers too that will come and kill these animals. And the problem with the meat poachers, and when poachers catch these animals, it's with snares, it's with these lines of barbed wire. And so they don't discriminate against, they're catching babies, they're catching females, they're catching pregnant females. They're not catching and essentially killing these old males that are beyond their prime.
They're
So
not
now you're
specifically
They just want the
targeting
meat.
they just
Well,
want
they
the-
just
they
kill
just they
everything.
just put a snare line up, and whatever gets caught in those snare lines gets caught in the snare lines. And so there's no discrimination. And so then you have this extreme imbalance of, okay, well, now all these babies are being killed and these males are not, it's a complete imbalance in the ecosystem.
Back to the trade. I want to get back to that illegal market because this is kind of important. So $20 billion in the illegal wildlife trade is how big that market is. The only three trades that are bigger than that markets is drugs, arms, like guns, and human trafficking, and then animals. It's
Wow.
massive.
But it's
so that's
furs
whether
and- yeah.
people are. And so you think, okay, so there's that many elephants specifically. There's
Is this
about-
predominantly in Africa? This
Yeah, I would
trade
say,
is
yeah, most
predominantly
of
in
those.
Africa.
yeah, there's different places in China where there's tigers that can be poached and things like this, or pandas, for example.
Gotcha.
Or rare monkeys that make really good flies for fishing. I mean, so their hair.
What?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird.
That's
I mean,
random.
Yeah.
birds and feathers, and so tusks specifically, that ivory, it's in a trinket market, and so but like in rhinos is a really bad one because
Globally, the ivory trade is estimated to be worth $23 billion per year. That's ivory
It's just
alone.
ivory. So
Yeah.
that's not meat, that's not furs, that's not feathers.
And-
it's
and that's
anything.
also
Yeah.
and so the other aspect of that is the rhino poaching is so bad because a rhino horn
Mhm.
can make so much money. If you look up the facts, I mean, it is insane. It's like $400,000 could be generated from one
What?
14-pound rhino.
Is that ivory too?
Yeah.
No.
Is that a dumb question?
No,
No, the-
It's made from like a fingernail,
Mhm.
but the Asians specifically, they grind it up and put it into dick pills and they
What?
sell it.
No,
as
they
dick
think,
pills.
yeah.
Stop.
Yes.
That's true?
It's true.
I thought that was a gas station lie.
Oh,
That's
so true.
actually the truth.
So it's
Holy
worth
shit.
Yeah, look at that. $400,000 per kilogram.
What?
$11,000 an ounce.
Yeah.
And it obviously works. They couldn't trick you
That's-
forever.
I don't know.
We don't know.
That's the craziest thing is like the Asian market is very I don't know. The placebo effect is huge, obviously.
Apparently.
Yeah.
But it's like take Viagra that you don't have to kill a rhino for. It's freaking crazy.
I was about to say, dude, there's like a lot of options in this category. If this is something you're in need of, like you don't have to go kill a rhino to get
Yeah.
what you're after.
Yeah. So my whole point with this is like, if you're not into hunting, if you say I don't want anybody to hunt, and your wish is granted, everyone stops hunting. All that money that's generated as the hunters are paying are what pays for all the anti-poaching. So the poaching doesn't stop, it gets lessened in areas, because what happens in those communities, so we were talking about the farmers, and we're going full circle here. Why did those farmers not just poison the animals? Well, because those elephants that get hunted, they get a kickback. They get all the meat. The village gets all the meat, and they get money. They get school funding. They get school supplies. The entire community is taken care of. So then what happens is you get an entire village of game wardens that are now protecting to make sure none of those elephants die. Because if an elephant gets poisoned or gets poached from their community, then when we hunt an elephant that borders in their community, they don't get the meat.
I see.
And so it's the kangaroo courts. They will beat them to the brink of their life.
I was about to say, what are the both legal and illegal ramifications of being a poacher? I mean, do they catch you?
It is insane. So over there, it's 30 years in prison.
What?
Yeah, it's insane.
Oh my word. And that's steep.
But so it's very dangerous for the anti-poachers because, I mean, they kill a lot of people, dude. Like it is like when we hunt in Tanzania, the game scouts stay with us, which are, and they say to make sure, but it's really for protection, make sure we don't do anything illegal. But they're there with AK-47s because if we run into elephant poachers, they will shoot at us and kill us because they know they're going to prison for 30 years.
I was about to say, these are like the same cartel guys that are moving kids. They have to be. 30 years in prison you're facing, you would move drugs and you would definitely kill animals.
For
That's
sure.
the same type of person.
Yeah, exactly. And so these people are very dangerous. And so this whole concept that hunting is bad or trophy hunting is bad. Well, it's just hunting. I go, I kill what I eat. Fine, whatever. That's not the real argument here. It's the trophy aspect. If you take that away, poaching goes crazy, and it's exampled in every single country that has ever banned any sort of hunting. Kenya was the mecca of that, and the only places where the elephants are even living anymore are national parks. But now they're being overpopulated, and what's happening is, because elephants are very destructive, they're overpopulated in isolated areas, and they're knocking down trees that need to be there for the birds that need a 300-year-old tree to nest, and they're just knocking it all down. So now the overpopulation of elephants in the protected area are wiping out and making other animals go extinct.
Because they've forced elephants into small areas. And obviously they roam, right? Don't elephants go miles and miles and miles every day?
Yeah.
Like they never stop.
Yeah. And so, but because they're not getting killed, they leave the park, they get killed.
Got it.
So they get poached. And so in the park, they're killing, I don't want to say this, but I'm almost certain it's over 1,000 people a year. If I'm guessing is how many people get killed.
By poachers?
No, or poachers getting killed. So it is a lot. Because I talked to the retired
by
military,
elephants or by people? By people. So the anti-poachers are killing the poachers almost 1,000 a year.
One guy told me he killed 300 people in 1 year. And that was,
my God.
He said this in confidence. So, whether he was lying or not, I don't know. He was an ex-military, whatever their branch is over there. And that was his job. He goes out there with night vision and shoots poachers.
That's insane.
So and
this is sanctioned from a top-down governmental, I mean, as much as it can in Kenya. I understand, like you said, it's a kangaroo court. It's kind of a gray area as far as laws go.
Yeah, they take it very, very seriously in the national parks because that's their stream of income. So and people still do it. That's what's so crazy. So where
$23 billion a year just in ivory.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that big.
That's
enormous.
The main contributor to keep that from happening is hunting funds.
I mean, you think every country in Africa, I think, is a third world country. These governments don't have unlimited funds to even take care of their people, let alone protect the animals if there's no revenue being generated. And you think of all the jobs that are created from hunting too, obviously here in the States, but specifically in Africa. Like when we go and hunt, like in Tanzania, there's 40, 50, 60 people in camp alone. And that's not including the pilots. That's not including your texter. I mean, that's not including all of these people that
the trackers
and everything. Sure. And so it's a very high revenue.
And
your donation of meat to the locals. I mean, that you're feeding people. It's not like it doesn't go nowhere.
Right.
I mean, you may not eat do you eat elephant?
Yeah.
It's so good. Oh my gosh. What was that piece? We ate the cheekbone. Yeah.
But real quick before we move on from that, I want to express it's not just poaching too, because you got to think if you own a piece of land, right? And then we'll table this and we can kind of move on to this, but it's not just the poachers going to run rampant. If you think about it and you own a farm, let's say it's 1,000 acres, and on that farm, you need to get a return off of that land. So now let's say hunting's legal. Someone shoots a kudu, you get $2,500. Like, okay, wow. Well, maybe the outfitter gets that, they get $500. Like, that's a lot. Okay. Well, now someone shoots a lion and it's 20,000, or they shoot this or that. That 1,000 acres, whatever it is, now is a mecca for you of wildlife, right? So you are incentivized to make sure no one messes up any of the wildlife on there. So you're going to make sure to take care of them.
Yeah.
Now
You're a game warden now.
You're a game warden. And you're going to make sure because you're making so much money from that.
Yeah.
All right. So now they ban that hunting. Now you have this 1,000 acres. What are you going to do? You need to return an animal. All those animals now are useless because no one can hunt them. And you're like, okay, what do I do? Well, now that lion's attacking my cattle. That's okay. We can't have that. My cattle are more important. I poison the lion. The entire pride gets poisoned then because they come in, they eat the poisoned cow. The entire pride dies. All these migrating animals. And so in South Africa, they do a lot of high fencing because they migrate through people's farms and they wipe them all out. So what ends up happening is they turn those ground and optimize the ground for freaking cattle. And so they wipe out all the trees. They cut down all the trees. They make it grazing pastures, which kills the ecosystems. And so I wish we had our episode up. You could see where the human advancements have been, and then where they ban it, like the people cannot do farming or anything, and it's a hunting sanctuary. It's a hunting concession, and you could see the human aspect of destruction, and then you can see where it stops. And there's no trees; it's all farm ground, and it's just literally a line in the sand. And you're like, "Oh my God! If they banned hunting, everything would be wiped out and optimized for profits," because that's how we all operate. You wouldn't just do something to where you couldn't make money from it,
Right,
or live off of out of the kindness of your heart. You can't do something for free because it costs money to live. No matter where you live, whether you're in a hut, you have forms of currency that you have to exchange to survive. And so that is where, unless they figure something else out, hunting right now has been the proven model for that, to be able to protect every single animal. Because I can promise you, and not just in Africa, deer, all the biggest contributors, 100-fold to anti-hunter, 1,000-fold is all hunters contributing back to the preservation of the wildlife.
Well, hunters have a vested interest in preserving the wildlife.
Yeah.
We want it wild. That's the entire point of it. Most of us, especially people who are experienced big game hunters, trophy hunters, I'm using this as a way for me to escape my normal life.
Yeah.
I'm going out on something that maybe it's a hobby or maybe it's a full-time job like what you guys do. But either way, I'm wanting to go into an environment that I know is not farmland. I'm not wanting a controlled environment. I'm wanting the wild.
Yeah.
That's the entire point behind it.
And a lot of deer hunters, they'll optimize their ground. They'll improve the habitat to grow better deer herds, which optimize, or pheasants. They'll plant grasses so it grows pheasants, and they optimize it because it is an exciting activity for us to do. And even with the hunting, you're like, well, what's the difference between poaching and then an animal still dying? And it goes back to what Sarah said. It goes back to the selective harvest. You're selecting harvest past reproductive primed animals, or animals past the reproductive prime. So they're very old. Those are the ones that also have the biggest antlers. So it works out really nicely. Because I tell everyone, if the oldest deer had the smallest antlers, I'd have a trophy room full of tiny deer. I say, because it's just a representation of the age. Yeah. And so same thing in Africa with all the horned animals. Typically, it's not always the case, but typically the bigger the horns, the bigger the tusks, they're the older animal. And I know when we were elephant hunting, we were tracking this giant track, and we came across its feces. And the feces was really well digested. He's like, I don't care how big it is. We're not hunting him. He's not past his prime. And I was like, oh, interesting. It was a huge track. Could have been a very big elephant. Didn't matter. And then we found another track to where it's just fibrous and really bad shape. You can tell his digestion's not right. And he's like, this is an animal we need to track and see. And the reason is most people don't realize this. Nothing in the wild dies of old age. There's no fairy tale where a deer just nuzzles down next to a tree and dies. It's always brutal. It is the worst possible death you could ever imagine. I mean, for a deer, it'll get to the point to where it can't take care of itself. And then when it's no longer faster than the coyotes, it gets eaten alive. Africa's no different. Mother Nature is a serial killer, and she will kill you the second you show weakness. Think about people. I mean, think about how often we would die. We get a simple infection that we can't get antibiotics for. We're dead. I mean, weakness does not exist in the wild. You get slaughtered. And everywhere is that way. So at some point, elephant specific, because we've been talking about them, they have a specific set of molars that they go through their entire life, 6 sets. And when they lose the last set, that's nature's way of them starving to death. They can't digest their food well anymore. So then they starve to death. They get to the point to where they can't stand up anymore. They become easy prey for the lions or hyenas.
Yeah. And to Sarah's point, the difference between poaching and hunting too is the way the animal dies.
100%. We've seen some very horrific things in
Tell
Africa.
them what you saw on this last trip.
Oh, so the wildebeest specifically, because we ended up being in Tanzania during the Great Migration, which was so much fun. Got to see so many animals, but
Yeah, that was
that's
amazing.
obviously prime for poachers because there's so many animals moving through and they get really creative. I mean, you've had a Cape buffalo with a homemade bullet in it from like a bike.
I shot 2 animals that they made bullets and guns. They made bullets from the inner, it was like the inner bracket that's on a pedal. There's like a rod in between 2 pedals on a bike. They had chopped that up and made bullets out of it.
What?
Yeah.
Yes. It was in the
And
heart,
they
wasn't
fire it, what?
They
out
make
of
a homemade
reed?
muzzleloader.
Yeah,
They
homemade
make a
muzzleloader.
muzzleloader. So they make all this stuff and it just blows up on them half the time. And so when you find poachers are missing
my
fingers and stuff,
gosh.
but I killed a buffalo that had a bullet made from the and you can find a picture of it on YouTube and shorts. If you look up Josh Bowmar Cape buffalo, there might be a picture with a bicycle on it. And then Cape buffalo BOW. Yeah, and so we find this thing, and it was right in its chest. It was shot dead center, which means for them they shoot 10 yards. So it didn't kill that buffalo. So it definitely killed him. I mean, there's no chance when they're that close.
Yeah.
I mean,
they don't
buffalo turn you into mashed potatoes as a form.
I was gonna
of
say they're
defense.
very aggressive,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
they
100%.
like notoriously aggressive.
Yes.
Yeah, they're called Black Death. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah, check this out. So this is
oh,
the
wow.
muzzleloader examples. So that was the bullet I found in the chest of the buffalo I killed. That buffalo there.
Wow. Oh, they were a massive animal.
Oh, they're
my
huge.
goodness, yeah.
So
and that didn't kill him?
no, and it was in his heart. You know the sac? I think it's called the pericardium or something.
Holy cow.
Yeah, so it was in the sac next to the heart, and it didn't die. Dude, they're so
Dude, they
freaking
are
resilient.
so tough.
So tough.
That's
So
freaking terrifying.
So, but I mean, these poachers get so incredibly creative because it's not like they can go to Bass Pro and pick up whatever. So when we were there this last time, they were using like
These big
hatchets
long,
almost, or
they-
like
no, they made these big
swords.
long like pipes,
Yeah.
and they took machetes and put on the end of the pipes, and they were riding motorcycles
And
through the
just, like-
migration, and they would take the pipes and slide down like a giant hatchet or a giant machete, and then cut their spinal cords, and then they would just go and get as many animals as they can,
Oh
but they
my
would leave them
gosh.
alive. And they knew lions would take some of them, but there's so much death with the migration that they knew they would cut as
Paralyze
many-
them, essentially.
paralyze them, so they're laying there
Oh, see, that's
for
that's
days.
awful.
And they would,
So
dude,
messed
it's
up.
so worse because then they would go and then they would take all the meat off of one, have to take it all the way back to their village, then come back the next day, find the other one that they speared. So it had been suffering for over 24 hours with a broken back. And if the lions didn't kill it, then they would kill it because if it dies, it'll rot. So then they just cut spinal cords with the machetes.
so they keep them alive so they don't die, so they don't rot. That is,
Yeah. It's
yeah,
messed
that is
up.
messed
We ended up
The-
seeing
the
this.
reality is so much worse
Yeah.
whenever there's no hunters. Like I just can't express this enough because I've seen it with my own eyes. I mean, it is so much worse.
We saw
And-
this one though that I don't know if they maybe slipped or something. I think it's gonna be in the elephant video when you're done with it. But it was just like it was just gaping hole on the side of this female wildebeest, and it was still running, but it was running, and the hole was so big that as it was running, the blood was just sloshing out of
That
this
you
hole.
could
It
see
was
its organs coming out of
and it
its-
had been shot by a poacher.
the
No, like
machete missed
slashed.
the
or the
spine.
machete missed.
It missed
Yeah,
the
it was
spine,
just
but then hit it
slashed.
in the side, so that it had this giant hole. And it's gruesome and not fun to listen to. Like I know, like the people listening to this, if they're still listening, it's hard.
Sure.
And I want them to feel that because that's the reality of what it is if they win with banning hunting.
Yeah.
Because we see it, and that was in a hunting concession where there's 24/7 anti-poaching teams driving around in trucks,
I mean, they
finding
have
these people.
drones, helicopters, like
Yeah.
we
thermo
we
stuff.
caught 2 poachers when we were there.
Yeah.
And so it was crazy. That
And
experience.
they what? Just cuff them, throw them in the back of the Jeep,
Yeah.
take them away?
And I said, how many years? He said 30 years.
30 years. They're
Because
going to
it's
go to
based
prison.
on how many animals. And then one dude
Wow.
was 70 years old, so he's going to die in prison.
Wow.
Yeah, it is crazy. So it's brutal over there.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
Well, it's also there's so much ignorance from the people pushing against it. That's not your world. You have no idea what you're talking about when you're in Europe complaining about hunting in Africa. You don't know what's happening over there.
the Discovery Channel did an episode on this. They went over there to film the behind the scenes with trophy hunting to show how horrible it is. And they did this whole thing. And then at the end, they were like, oh, there's a lot more to this than we realized.
Well, I remember Nat Geo did an Instagram post too, where they did like this time lapse on an elephant that someone had shot. And I mean, you know this too, how quickly they deboned an elephant, an entire village. It was like sub 2 hours.
I have to
An
show you
elephant.
pictures. Oh, yeah. Dude, the elephants, think of the biggest cow you've ever seen in your entire life. The biggest cow. It would fit in the cavity of an elephant. Like just where its guts are. I mean, it's crazy because I did end up harvesting an elephant with my bow. Never posted about it or anything. We had over
Because of controversy.
I couldn't post it without sharing the real story of like all the things we're going over today. You know, I can't just show here's me with this giant 90-pound tusked elephant. You know, it'll
be the bear
Pumpus.
2.0.
It's not okay. I learned lessons from the bear. But the harvest was amazing because after the animal's down, we spent the entire afternoon with the 400 plus villagers, and they were so happy. I could share all these pictures with you guys if you'd like to see them.
Yeah, for sure.
And they're just taking the meat, they're taking the blood because they make medicine out of it.
Really?
Oh, nothing goes to waste. Like they were fighting over the tail because they want to make bracelets and stuff.
Out of the tail hair.
Yes.
The tail hair is like insane.
Yeah. I can imagine.
Yeah.
So to give you perspective on how big it is, so if you feel your temple, like feel the size of that, how that is. And I wanted to eat some of the elephant. He's like, well, we give all of it away. He's like, but we'll take some temple meat back home. I'm like, I want enough for us to eat. He's like, one temple will feed 27 people from an elephant. I'm like,
gosh.
And it was so good. It was some of the best meat I think we've ever had.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's so good.
So anyway, it was I had to share. You asked about, the question was about conservation and hunting and the importance of it. And I know we went a lot of different ways and went a lot of different tentacles off of that one question, but it's hard to answer without giving kind of like that experience and that laying that foundation. But to answer your question short now, it is absolutely critical. And without hunters, there is no animals that survive. There isn't, unless it's funded through something else, which national parks are great, but you can't have a national park everywhere to be patrolled everywhere because who's going to pay for the patrolling? And so it has to have some sort of stream of income tied to the animals themselves, or there's no protection. And then illegal people do what illegal people do, and that's break the law. And they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop.
No matter what the hunters do, it's not going to stop. You're talking about a place. It's like trying to ban the Coast Guard to get rid of the Somali pirates. Like you're looking at this in the exact opposite direction that you probably should be.
Yeah.
And this is also why I love podcasting, because you're right. That's a very long-winded answer that had to be shared. In order to truly get the full picture, and you can't get that from just a video of you shooting an elephant or you're spearing a bear or anything like that. You can't get all the backstory that goes with it. And no, I appreciate that.
I had to share that. And it parallels well with every single animal. And you look up any case studies where they start banning hunting. One, if they are in a protected area and they ban hunting, then overpopulation comes into effect, and then it starts hurting the population itself with disease or whatever, but then also other animals that live in that ecosystem. And so there is a balance there. And when you start messing with it, which we already have because we're people and we're expanding our territory and we're constantly growing, then we're moving into their territory. So now there's the same amount of animals with less places to go. And so that creates a problem, and we need to be responsible enough to help fix that problem.
Well, it's true, because there's definitely, I mean, deforestation, I think we'd agree, it's an issue that needs to be talked about. It's definitely a problem. You ever seen pictures of the Amazon, like over the last 100 years?
No.
Like what? Like, yes, it's bad. Oh. Try to look that up. See pictures of the Amazon over the last 100 years.
Yeah, and you think about it's
been burned out.
This would be a good stat to know about that. Back to the elephants real quick. I think of the 420,000 elephants that are alive today, 349,000 of those elephants are in places that are allowed to be hunted. So of the 400,
they are allowed to be hunted.
They are. So 350 somewhere. It's right there. Like over 80%.
It's most of it.
Is where you're allowed to hunt, and where they ban hunting, the elephants all die. so it's
Wow.
kind of crazy. Yeah. It's
And
wild.
I mean, you mentioned that it's been on Discovery, it's been on Nat Geo, but this is the first I'm hearing about this. I've
and
never.
The crazy thing is there's 20 to 40,000 elephants poached every year. For the ivory trade in that $20 billion industry we were talking about, there's only around 1,000 elephants hunted every single year, which is a lot, like to be hunted, but it's 20x what
That's
poachers
insane.
is. So you kill 1,000 and there's still 20x of them being poached, but you take away those hunters that are paying 60 to 100.
I was about to say that's 20. How many did you say? How many hunters per year?
1,000.
So 1,000 people
elephants.
paying $20,000 to $100,000 towards stopping poaching.
And that's just one animal. Like, that's the thing. Like, when you go on a safari, and if you have the funds to hunt an elephant, you've got the funds to hunt a lot of other things.
Lion.
But so much stuff.
Yeah.
But what's so cool?
Lion's crazy.
Yeah.
You hunted, I assume. Yeah.
We've
That's one
tried,
animal that we
but
haven't gotten.
we're trying to hunt them free ranging. So a lot of people that hunt lions do them in concessions and stuff like that, which is fine. I don't care. But for us, we want.
What's the difference? What is concession? What does that mean?
It's like a high fence. So then they have high fences, and then it's not a free ranging animal.
I see.
It is. It's usually 5,000 acres. It's massive land
Sometimes.
But to us, like elephant or lions' home ranges are so massive, they would exceed the fences that they live in.
I see.
So we didn't want to do that. But we also would never hunt a lion that's a part of a pride. So because we only hunt lions that are so old, they've been kicked out of the pride. And so they're rogue lions. And so those ones are detrimental because they're still powerful. A lot of them are powerful. They'll go in to a newly formed pride and then kick the ass of that pride leader and then bang all of his girls and then
kill the cubs. It's
Exactly.
a brutal scene.
Yeah. And so we specifically had a very finite type of lion we were going to hunt. And there was actually 2 of them that were brothers. And he said, we won't kill one without killing the other. But they were bad.
Did you ever see the Ghost in the Darkness?
I did not watch it.
Are you friggin' kidding me?
I know, of all people, I've heard of it. I know exactly what it's about, but I've never watched it.
You need to watch that movie. That's one of the greatest movies, even if you weren't a hunter. Like, that is an incredible story. Do you know the story?
I do. I know the story.
Okay.
And it's true.
And
right?
it's true.
I don't remember the facts. So how many people did they kill? It was a lot.
That's a good question.
Was it over 100?
Oh,
easily. They were railway workers, and it was at the time when I believe it was the British were traversing with the railroad, and it was. I mean, this is a long time ago, and they actually brought in Remington, like the father of Remington rifle. He was a guide at the time. He was a hunting guide, and they brought him in. Hired him to kill these 2 lions, and they were brothers.
Wow. Yeah.
And they were killing all of these railway workers. Like, and they were murking them. So this is the movie, but see if you can get the. Oh, it's a good movie.
Oh,
I need to watch
this. Is back in the 90s, I think.
I've got to watch this.
This is back when they made, and they used real lions for this too.
And so this is.
It's brutal.
This is an example of 2 rogue lions, by the way. This is a real life example. So
they wouldn't eat them.
That's
the terrifying thing about this. In this particular case, the lions would grab them. They would kill them. They would sometimes drag them off a little bit. But what they did was they actually found their den where they were dragging the bodies and just leaving them. They were just killing people.
It was for fun.
Yeah,
it was for fun.
Cats are one of the only predators that kill for fun. Even house cats, they'll just kill for fun.
Okay, your house cat will eat you if you die in your house.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you got to
in a matter of like hours.
Yeah.
Your dog will leave you alone until he starts to starve, but your cat is like, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I'm
gonna eat you.
taking a nap. I'm like, I'm not even dead yet. Like, what's wrong with you? But yeah, so the point is we tried. We hunted for 36 days actually. Just
That's
for
a
those
pretty damn good try.
It was
That's
a good try. And we were after only those 2 specific lions
Yeah.
because they were the only ones that met the parameters of what we were wanting to hunt.
And are these parameters that you 2 specifically set for yourselves, or is this they set it on all hunters?
It's kind of both.
Can't kill.
You can't kill a lion that doesn't have a full mane because it needs to be a certain age.
Mature,
I think it has to be over 7.
Yeah.
And so once they're from fully mature, and then it's not illegal to shoot a lion in a pride, but it's completely taboo. No one that's worth their weight at all as an outfitter or a PH, a professional hunter, would ever do that. If they do that, they're a horrible person.
And it's because then that leaves the pride exposed to
the coalition of these other lions that are essentially going around.
And then
basically the role of male lions in prides is they fight off and kill any other male lion that comes around them.
Kind of. It's just kind of like killing the man of the house. Yes, a new man will probably come in, but then maybe he doesn't like the kids. He just kills them.
Oh,
you know?
all but
Yeah.
guaranteed he
Yeah.
kills all the kids, right? All the cubs aren't his lineage. They
Right.
want to kill the cubs and breed with the females and start over.
Yeah. And so it's not good. It just messes up the whole ecosystem with that. So it's better for people to target those rogue lions. And so that's what we tried to do. We didn't succeed. But that's bow hunting. You know, it's just
Well, you were trying to do it with a book. You're
yeah.
crazy.
So
You are seriously crazy.
So
Only
we only
bow
bow hunt.
Oh my
Only bow
God.
hunt.
true story. Sarah's never killed anything with a
I
gun.
haven't.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
I like
it's
that.
great.
That's cool.
And so we've traveled the world and we only bow hunt, and we're totally fine going home empty-handed. Because for me, it's that moment that you have to get close to that animal is so special and so hard to do. It feels disrespectful to me to shoot it, you know, with a rifle, because you can kill an animal with a rifle where it can't see you, it can't smell you, it can't hear you, and you can still kill it. And that's just, to me, it doesn't sit right. To everyone else, we need rifle hunters. If people stop rifle hunting, everything would be overpopulated, it'd be terrible. It's not my thing. I like to know I have to be close enough to where he can see me, smell me, hear me, whatever. And you'll see a lot of videos. I shoot things very far away with bows, and it's hard when we're filming and doing all these things. And a lot of these animals, people don't even kill with bow and arrows because they're so difficult and you can't get close because of the terrain that they live in. And so
Or they're a lion, and I wouldn't want to get close enough to get eaten by a freaking lion.
I know. And so the lion, like the hippo, like I don't know if you ever seen that hippo I hunted. That episode is insane. We got charged like 8 times. If you search on YouTube that hippo, look at the cover photo. You see the size
we lost
of me.
a cameraman over that hunt.
I had a guy quit after that.
Really?
True story.
Yes.
He's like, this is too much.
Why? Because
Because
it's
we
just
almost
too.
died so many
at
times.
least 9 times.
Really?
Yeah.
So look at that hippo up top right there.
Oh my gosh.
See the size of that thing? So it is not Photoshop. I will show you a picture later of me laying down next to it. And it was still longer. I laid down, I still had about 6 inches between his mouth. I was the length of just his head and neck.
Wait a minute. Sarah, did you kill this thing?
I've killed 2 hippos. So I actually was the first female in, we think, recorded history.
Yeah, in history.
If anyone knows of anyone before me, please let me know, because we've been searching. But so I ended up I was the first woman to get a hippo with a bow.
Let's go.
Yeah. And so they're just,
awesome.
their skin is just so incredibly thick that it takes a very strong bow to be able to penetrate that skin. And it was intense. Since then, I actually got another hippo this last trip that we haven't posted about yet. But yes,
Never skip back day.
No, no, you can't. Back
Even doing back day for 25 years.
Wait,
What do you pull? What's the poundage of your bow?
So typically 70. I had my bow up to 75 for the elephant, but
That's a lot. That's a lot for those listening. That's a lot of weight.
But
For both of you, what's the dream animal like to go after?
oh,
that's so hard. For me, I really had this like obsession with a longbow. So I hunted a lot with a longbow. Growing up, I was so poor. I had to sell my compound for money. So I built my own bow and I hunted with it. And it just took this whole other element of challenge to it. So a lot of my dreams aren't necessarily a specific animal. It's how I want to hunt them. Like, so for me,
okay.
killing a really big deer with a stick bow was a very, almost impossible challenge that I wanted to do. So I was fortunate enough to do that. I did that. And then a Cape buffalo with a homemade bow, the Black Death.
Oh my gosh.
Dude,
Yeah.
the video is insane. I did it. You have to
Wait, you
watch
did it?
I
You
did.
already did it?
Yeah.
It's freaking nuts right there. If you click that traditional longbow,
Longbow, Cape Buffalo. Get the.
dude, I
Oh
You
my
watch
gosh, you were a wild person.
so this was 100-pound bow, and it smoked him. It was great. But prior to this, if you watch,
Wait, is there a light on your arrow?
yeah,
a light
so
and knock.
it's light and knock. So that bow,
Oh, that's
yeah,
cool.
So that bow I made, I custom made.
And is there even a sight on that bow?
No sights, nothing.
You're
My fingers,
crazy.
So yeah, it's fun.
And how far was this? That shot was how
About
far?
18 yards.
I don't care. People don't understand how hard that is to do.
Yeah.
That is so hard to hit anything
Yeah.
with an open-sided bow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you, as an archer, I guarantee you've tried it, and it's like it feels impossible.
Absolutely. It's
And-
so it's all by feel.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like you have to feel where the
That
arrow is
instinct.
going.
Mhm.
Now, when you shoot, is that how when you shoot an open sight? Because I know there are guys who will kind of feel just on instinct on where they know it will go. Is that how you shoot an open sight?
Sometimes. So it depends on that particular one. I was actually bear hunting on the peninsula of Alaska, like right next to Russia, that spring for brown bear. And so I killed a really big brown bear, and I was carrying out the entire hide and head of this thing out, and I'd fallen in the river and tore my AC joint. So my like collarbone was sticking out. This was in May, and I had to go on this trip in July. And I like can't move my arm. I'm like, I can move it, but I couldn't draw my bow. I'm like, oh my God. So I went and like happened to be one of the guys in camp was an NKT specialist that works on Patrick Mahomes, Keith Kimberlin, a really crazy witch. He's called the witch doctor is actually what he calls himself.
Sick.
And so he's like in camp. He was hunting with his friend. And I'm like, dude, and I had this happen. He's like, come see me, let it heal up for about 3 days and come see me. We'll get it fixed. And so literally I go see him. He like does all this voodoo witch doctor stuff on me. And my collarbone goes back down and no surgery, nothing. I started gaining mobility and I was able to shoot my bow, which is
sick.
Super weird. The human body is amazing. I would love to dive into that. It was just freaking wild. So I learned how to but with that one, I couldn't draw 3 fingers under because I couldn't get quite to full length to get the bow, to have the bow be strong enough to go through a Cape Buffalo. So basically it's just an inch difference between here and here. Mm-hmm. And so I had to shoot split finger, and I'll explain what I'm saying with this. So for me to get more draw length in order to be able to get more power out of the bow to get in deep enough into the animal. And so that particular one I shot purely instinctive. Because I needed as much power as possible. So I'm just looking at the spot. And you do that by shooting a basketball 1,000 times.
This is all reps. That's what people don't get to. It's a lot harder to shoot on instinct because you literally have to just pin the target every day.
And then, and you can change arrow spines and bow and do all this stuff. But how I normally hunt with a long bow, if you pull up Josh Bowmar with that grizzly bear, you see that right there? So that was my dream, was to kill a giant bear with a homemade bow. And so that one I did more calculated. And so basically I do what's called gap shooting. And so if this is the arrow and your string is here where you go full draw, if you pull this down and you pull lower in the string where the arrow is, you can actually make it to where the tip of the arrow is on the animal. So you almost have an aiming sight, but it's the tip of the arrow. It's a form of shooting that broke all the world records, and they banned it in a lot of traditional shooting because it was so accurate. Yeah. But with this was one of my homemade bows that blew up.
Blew up?
Yeah. So I redid it and took it back out, and I was hunting with this broken bow, and it's so stupid.
Trust me.
Oh, that is so sketchy.
No.
In the
house. Yeah.
Yeah. So
yep.
I got really good with this thing, and I rebuilt the bow. I take it back out, and so it's pretty fun. But the point is that gap shooting, the reason why it's so effective when you hunt weird animals is because your brain isn't perceiving very well like distances. Like you have to be able to judge distance down to the exact yard and draw back, and then your brain knows that distance and run that calculation and know where to hold and do all that.
Yeah.
And so when I'm hunting weird animals that I don't have a normal interaction with, like a bear, for example, then the problem is the bear is so big, I think he's a lot closer than he actually is, but he's 40 yards. So by gap shooting, then I know at 18 to 22 yards, this is exactly where I am.
And you're not using a rangefinder when these animals are coming by. You're just literally eyeballing it.
Yeah. And so with the gap shooting, it's more precise. And so I typically do that for smaller animals. I just couldn't pull enough weight for the Cape Buffalo because it's so thick. But yeah, it's
how are you getting these camera shots like during these hunts?
Dude, so we go in. I'm like you with everything here. It's what I am with filming a hunt. Like every time I'm just trying to push it a little bit further. And it's amazing for me because I'm thinking like, how could we film this better? And so I'm like GoPros, making it as live as possible, putting a GoPro on a spear.
Yeah.
And then we went to the extreme where we spent $200,000 and bought a slow motion camera that universities use.
Oh, where so you see the arrow like bend as it goes. Yeah, that's worth it.
Yeah.
Where was
so worth it.
This was in Alaska.
Copper Center.
Copper Center. And dude, so we spent some crazy resources on like capturing some stuff like the turkey and the slow motion videos. And but it's a lot of fun. I mean, to capture it as live as possible. And I think for most people, for me, because I grew up on a dirt road, way out in the sticks, no neighbors. And I never thought it would ever be possible to go on these big adventure hunts with Sarah or with anybody, And so for me, I was just like, seeing that on TV was so special to me. And I thought, man, I would like to be able to capture that for that other guy that lives on a dirt road that may not be able to ever go. He can at least live as if it was real for him through our videos.
That's cool.
I
That's
don't.
cool.
For me, like we grew up when we'd shoot a deer, we'd take it to a check-in station. It'd be a spike, one little horn, doesn't matter. If it was with a bow, it was amazing. And then the community would always hang out there because we'd see who got a deer, and then we'd all be rooting each other on, and it was a fun experience. And then they went to digital check-ins, so no one does that. So this is kind of like my way to be able to have that community relationship with them.
Footage is so gripping.
Yeah,
It's like you can't look.
This is
this
look
is
away.
a cool hunt.
And you're in a tree blind, yes?
Yeah, this one we were in a tree with the bow.
And that's a tough because obviously that shot you can't
No,
take if he's
I
facing
can't.
directly.
No,
Yeah.
No, I can't. And so like I have all these camera angles running. And so like I have to wait till he's broadside. And so we have popcorn on the ground. Believe it or not, they love popcorn. Isn't that funny?
That is funny.
I mean, but you see how thick it is? That's the only way you can hunt these inland grizzlies because of the thickness of it.
You have to get him to go to, and I see what you're saying. Your hand is below the arrow.
Yeah.
You've got a gap between your hands and the actual, not the fletching, but the knock.
yeah.
Yeah. And so there's a gap. And then I orient my broadhead to where the tip of the blade is poking up. So I use that as an aiming reference.
Oh, I see. So
And
it's
so-
kind of like your sight from your,
Exactly.
yeah. Okay.
But
Okay.
technically, there's still no sights, but I can shoot both ways. Like
It's a technique. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the technique.
No, that's
The
great.
Cape Buffalo is pure instinct.
You mentioned, Sarah, that you were vegan prior to getting into this.
Yes.
And I definitely wanted to circle back to that. Was it purely just because Josh was so into this prior to bringing you in that got you invested in this? Or did you already have sort of interest in hunting?
No, absolutely no interest. Like, and for me, I think it was one because he was super hot. So I was like, I'll do anything. What do you?
Brian Callen said that.
Yeah, like yeah.
I was like rolling. So good.
Is that his body? Fuck you!
I thought I was straight.
Funny.
It was so funny.
But no, I think it was just for me. Like, I think
That's my favorite clip we've had here so far.
It is so
Seriously, it
great.
might be.
It was so funny.
but no, I think for me, I think because I'm still able to hold some of the same properties that and same philosophies that I still do when I was vegan. I'm still for animal welfare. I don't think that animals should live a hard life just to feed people, so because we strictly bow hunt, because we are so successful, thank goodness, like we can sustain ourselves with the meat that we get. And so we rarely have to get anything from the store, like just random, like salmon. Okay, well, yeah, we don't have access to salmon. So like we do have to supplement a little bit of our meat, but 98% of the stuff is just stuff that we get to eat. And so when Josh like sat down and explained this to me, he's like, well, I'm a bow hunter. I eat everything I kill. I only use archery equipment. And I'm like, oh, well, like I was good at archery once in 5th grade in camp. I'm like, I can do this, like having literally no exposure to like no one in my family hunts, nothing, like not even a cousin or anything. And so I think that almost helped me because for me, I had no idea. I've never seen a hunting show before. I've never shot like a bow professionally or anything. And so I think just like him explaining it to me and just being able to like see, and like, obviously, like you've said, like the most of the time we're not successful. We're just out in nature. And I think that that's some of the coolest parts of it is because like you really just get to experience nature. You get to just be in that element without necessarily taking a life. But then when it does come together, like it just makes it that much more special. And I don't think that I would have appreciated it. I mean, he tried to get me to shoot a gun when we first met because so we met.
First shot of any gun was a 12 gauge with 3.5-inch turkey loads. And if you know anything of your listeners who know what that is, they're like, why would you do that? It's like shooting a 50 cal.
Kick like a mule.
Kicks so bad.
Well, because we met the weekend of the Arnold, which is the first weekend in March. And then turkey season comes in Ohio, where we were living at the time, at like the end of April, beginning of May. So I didn't have like a ton of time, and it's winter. So like, what are we going to do? Go out and shoot in the blizzard? Like, no. So I'm like, he's like, you have no time to get ready for turkey season.
Because I was like, well, you're going to have to use a gun. I'm like, because you can't learn how to shoot a bow in a month. Like, not proficient enough to hunt.
Yeah.
Well, at least that's what I thought.
Yeah.
But this little lady was determined. I can tell you that.
Well, tip number 1, if you're trying to get your girlfriend into hunting, don't teach her how to shoot. So we went to a pro shop. They taught me how to shoot. He was completely out of it. It was because I wanted to impress him. I wanted to, show
That's
him that
true
I
for a
could
lot of
do
stuff.
it.
It's like, if you want your girl to get in shape, don't try to train her in the gym. Get her with a coach. Like
Absolutely.
And I knew this right away because I'm like, okay, we're new in our relationship for one. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to criticize her in order for her to get better. That will make her not want to do this. I'm like, I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, here, this person teach you.
Yeah.
And so then it's just like, I could be the encouraging boyfriend that says, you got this, not the criticizer.
Yeah.
Do it easy, sweetie.
Yeah, it's like, even if you're the world's best jujitsu coach, you should not train your girl jujitsu. Let someone else do it.
Let somebody else.
And then you can just encourage them, you know?
Literally. And so, yeah, I mean, he was like, well, there's no way. Cause we strictly shoot turkeys in the head, which is ridiculous in and of itself.
It's about that big.
It's very
Correct.
difficult.
Yeah.
And it's constantly moving, like all over.
Yeah, moving around. They don't sit still, hardly ever.
And I've never shot an animal before. I've never been on a hunt before. So I'm like, okay. So we go up to his dad's house and he hands me this shotgun. And he wanted to trick me and see how I would react. I've never shot a gun before in my life. So he hands me this gun and I'm like, whatever. And he told me it was loaded just to see how I would react. And what did I do?
I learned that she's a serial killer because what she did next is impossible. Like literally, I have this gun and I tell her, all right, just squeeze the trigger. And everybody, their first time pulling the trigger goes like, and they flinch really hardcore. That's what everybody does. I mean, because they're expecting this big explosion.
It's loud. It's
I'm going to demonstrate exactly what she did. She went, click. Why didn't it go off? Didn't even blink. I was like, what? Oh my God, I love you. Oh, this is great. I was like, it was so crazy because everyone else was like, ah! And she was just like, look.
But then you loaded it. And then it rocked my shoulder. And I'm like, I'm not shooting this. Like, this was the most unpleasant thing. Now I am going to tense up and clench. And so he's like, well, you got to get pretty good with your bow then. Cause like we're going down to Kentucky. We're going to try to turkey hunt down there. And then season comes in here. We're going to shoot him in the head. Like you don't have much time to get ready for it.
I told her, you don't have a chance. She's like, no, we're going and we're buying a bow right now. I'm like, okay. And we're like in a relationship for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And so I'm like,
so this is new. This is brand new.
This is fresh. Like we met the first weekend of March and then I quit my job, moved to Columbus April 1st. Turkey season came in a few weeks after that.
At the end of April.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
so it was hot and heavy very quick.
Yeah.
And,
Vegan to bow
You met
hunter.
through fitness?
Yeah.
Okay.
We met at the Arnold.
At the Arnold, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So true story to wrap that up real quick. She gets a bow. She starts shooting it amazing. And her first time out turkey hunting, I call in this big Tom and it comes and sits on the decoy doing his thing. And she shoots and hits that thing right in the head. Like
Yes.
as a vegan,
I
still
vegan
vegan,
at this point.
just domes this turkey. And I'm just like, it's sitting there flopping. I'm like, who are you? I'm like, this is insane. And she had no idea the level of difficulty that is because it's like super difficult to shoot turkeys in the head. And she just does it her first try. And it was pretty crazy. Here's an example of what we do. That's
that's so awesome.
That's some serious carnage.
No, does it with the head? Do you use the ones that expand, the broadheads that like open in the air?
So these look like giant helicopter blades. So we actually by the time this comes out, this will be live. So we actually just came out with our own design. We studied so much NASA articles on this to make these things fly.
That's it right there. Yes. They're big. They're wide. Is it just to increase your ability of hitting the target?
Exactly. And so that way you get a little bit of room for air on each side, but you need to have a nice vertical flat space so then it as
cuts its head
off. It decapitates it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a bird and we all eat it at Thanksgiving. What's the big deal? You cut its head off
fast. Like why would you want it to suffer any other way? I mean, it's super quick.
It never knew that happened to it. Like it was like, there's no way. It didn't know at all.
Lights out.
What is because it's so cool and interesting what you guys are doing this with your partner has got to be just a really fun kind of almost like spiritual experience going out and doing that in the woods, spend all that time. That's got to be.
There's some stressful moments. Turkey season in particular, I don't know what it is, but I don't know if it's just because you're so tired and we usually butt heads. But for the most part, I mean, it is really cool to be able to travel to places where we would not usually go and to be able to experience and do things and donate to communities. And just like, I mean, we did our gender reveal for our daughter at the top of a mountain in New Zealand when we were hunting tar. And then for our son, we did our pregnancy announcement and our gender announcement.
Wait, how many kids do you guys have?
Just 2. Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's she hit it right on the head. We get to go and see places you would never vacation.
Yeah.
And so you get to experience things like walking down the river in the middle of Tanzania and there's hippos going in the water. There's crocodiles.
Crocodiles.
I mean, well, it's kind of scary too, but that's kind of, when your life is a little endangered is when things get exciting. That's why we all like roller coasters. It's like an artificial creation of fear. And so when you feel the most alive is usually when your life is at risk. And so for us, when we travel to all these places, there's always risk, right? I mean, that crocodile I freaking got malaria with, which is one of the—
did?
Oh yeah. It's one of the most
You got the
deadliest—
crocodile, right? The one you just posted.
So I've shot 2 crocodiles. Josh has shot 1.
So that was the one I killed.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
What?
So that was the
dinosaur.
world record with a bow. So that was
Where
the
was
largest
this?
in Tanzania.
They were all in Tanzania.
Oh my word. Is that where the biggest ones in the world are found? Is Tanzania?
That in Mozambique, but Mozambique doesn't allow you to bow hunt them anymore.
Yeah.
And
Really?
so, yeah,
Why?
They just banned it. I killed a big buffalo in Mozambique, but then they banned it. But yeah, Tanzania is the best place for sure.
Holy
and then that's
cow.
where Sarah killed hers too, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And she was super pregnant.
So I got my
I was trying to do it.
That's a good photo.
Right.
That was a good one.
If big game hunting had a picture for what happens if you eat only game meat, that should be what they put on there. Yeah.
but so I got my first crocodile in 2021 when I was pregnant. So
What?
So
Oh my
our kids have been, our
So
daughter's
cool.
been to Tanzania twice, and then both of our kids have been to Tanzania and Uganda. Like, it's amazing. But so I was pregnant with him. She was in camp, and it's weird because we rarely hunt together. Like, it lessens.
We used to for many years.
Yeah. But now it's like, okay, well, now I have a camera guy. He has a camera guy. If you're with me, then that cuts our chances in half. So like time is of the essence. So like we split up, but it's crazy because for both my crocodile hunts, it was the only 2 days that we were both together. Like it's very strange that it happened that way. So I got my first one in 2021. He was 15.5, and it was the world record for male or female.
My
It was
word. You bait him in
insane.
the water?
Yep.
So they just
that one.
swim up to you and you shoot them in the water.
The crocodiles are so crazy because they don't even need to eat, but maybe once a year. They
Yeah.
can go a long time without eating.
We did a lot
There's-
of research into crocodiles, and the way that their cells regenerate, they in theory could live forever. Their cells don't age.
Something's weird. They could take their heartbeat down to
Wow.
1 beat per minute.
Well, I've seen it when they're frozen solid in the lake.
Yes.
You ever seen that with their nose sticking up?
Yep.
It's the craziest thing ever. He's
Yeah.
like, no, he's alive.
Yeah.
He's just
Yeah,
sleeping.
It's,
Yep.
it's insane.
hmm
And so,
Oh my gosh. What's the reason why they live so long?
yeah,
Right.
but
They're a
what,
dinosaur.
what ends up happening is they get so big they can't catch food anymore, and then they die.
hmm
And so nature has a way of correcting itself.
Yeah.
It gets so big. And how big is that? The one you got? That's
Well,
about so big you
This
can't
is-
live?
Yeah, this one was 16 foot 3 inches.
Jeez.
They've documented them 20 plus feet in the Philippines and stuff.
Mhm.
But they have readily available food like people, and they eat.
I was about to
people
say,
in the lakes
they
and
eat
stuff,
people in
Oh,
lakes.
yeah.
Like 100%.
Yeah,
Oh,
that,
yeah.
that croc definitely ate people. 'Cause where he lived, there used to be villages right there. And so crocodiles kill a lot of people. And where Sarah killed her big one,
Mhm.
it was in a fishing hole that was famous in the local areas.
It had a bunch of fishing hooks in it, and it was cool because they eat rocks just like how chickens and turkeys eat rocks to digest their food. So we have, I don't know if I have a photo of it somewhere, but in our son's room, he's got this vase of all the rocks that were in the crocodile's stomach that I killed while I was pregnant
That's
with him.
cool.
But it's so neat because so that one we did bait, but then my second one, we took the kids down by the river and we were just playing in the river, and he looks up and he's like, my gosh, there's a huge crocodile down there, but it wasn't to the caliber of that he wanted. He had his eyes set on this huge one.
2 years we were looking for that croc.
For the one
Yeah.
you,
For
the
the one I
record.
killed.
Yeah.
For
Did
the
you know it was the record? Or
Well-
you just knew he was big?
They sent scouts out for 2 weeks before I even came, and we were on a 30-some day safari, and they went 2 weeks early to go the rivers because you need a team when you're doing this type of stuff. And so they saw this thing laying on there, and they said, this thing's massive. So, well, after it went back into the water, they went and they measured where it was in the sand, and they knew it was over 16 foot. And so that's kind of how we ended up.
But look at the
targeting it.
tail. It's all the way down by the word, the word
Yes.
world. It's all the
Yes.
way down. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
That is insane.
Mhm.
But she is, I think, the only woman that I know or person. I've never even seen a person do that where they spot and stalk and kill a
Yeah.
crocodile.
My second one was a spot and stalk.
Yeah, because they can feel your vibrations when you walk in. I mean, it's really crazy.
That's horrifying.
And so
Yeah. But
that
but there was a river. So he was on one side of the river. We were on the other side. And so I think he just felt that felt very safe because that river was in between us.
You stalked him. It wasn't like he
Yeah.
was
Correct.
okay.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah, if you scroll up,
Wasn't like the bear.
that-
He knew it was your
Oh no.
Yes,
I mean, I think
that's
he
the one.
knew. I think he knew we were there for sure. But he
yeah,
was
that
just
that was crazy. That was a giant. So we like crocodile hunting.
Mhm.
For one, the medicine that it creates with the locals is kind of weird. They
so.
use
This
the
is my
fat.
first one. So
Yeah, so that's the
Whoa.
first one. That was the 15'5" one.
And
That's
I'm-
sick.
mega pregnant. So he actually came out of the water. And you don't see a crocodile like they all look big. And so these little ones are coming out of the water. I'm like, they're big. And Dusty, my PH, is like, now. And then you see mine come out and it's like, oh, he dwarfs the other ones. He
But
was so big.
And these crocs were probably
How
between
old?
60 and 100
60 and
years.
100.
It's hard to
Years
say.
old.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Very old.
Oh my word.
And so even with crocs, we still target the old past reproductive prime. But my croc, we documented, if you want to watch it, I mean, these episodes are really cool.
Mhm.
We spent a lot of time with this, but mine, we documented a mating ritual that's never been documented with the crocs that big with mine. Literally, he bred a female right in front of us. We filmed it all in like 4K at 240 frames per second.
What?
It was insane.
It's
It's
at the
just-
beginning of this episode.
And then he died.
And then he died.
But
He had one last
busted,
hoorah.
and then he came in for an after snack. And
At
they got him.
100 years of age.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's not the way to go out, I don't know what is.
Dude, I'm telling you, that's exactly it. And so it was the best way for him to go out. But that got a lot of controversy, to be honest. In
Just the
Tanzania-
crocodile?
The crocodile in Tanzania. Tanzania is super supportive. They didn't care, but they got all these anti-hunters coming in and like, screw you. We reviewed everything. There was a game warden with them because that's where in Africa we have game wardens that are with us
24/7.
24/7.
Mhm.
They stay with us in camp. And they're on every single vehicle. They go on stalks. I mean, it's crazy.
I mean, I would prefer it that way, probably.
Yeah,
I
for sure.
I don't want to run into
100%.
anybody who isn't an authority figure out there.
Yeah.
right.
Like
Well,
100%.
yeah, because I mean, you run into situations all the time where you run into poachers and then the guy has to shoot them. That hasn't happened with us, but it has happened with other people.
You know of it. It has happened.
Yeah.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And so when the game warden's there, he vouches. He's from the government. He vouches what happened. Yes, they had to murder these people out of self-defense. And it wasn't he said, she said stuff. And so that's where there's always that government official. And for exact situations like this with the crocodile.
And it's so funny too because they don't see a lot of bow hunters. And so like my first one, we were in Tanzania the first time, he was like, every time I would like take a picture with an animal, was like, can I hold the bow? I'm like, you can hold the bow. So like in all of our pictures, he's like got the bow in his hand and it's like my animal, but he's like so happy to just like
taking selfies
there.
on their
Yeah.
flip phones.
Yeah.
It was
That's
so
great.
so funny.
But it all of this stuff correlates really well with fitness too, to be honest. And like that's the part that most people don't realize is the fitter you are, the easier the bow hunting can be. Because I mean, dude, it's nothing for us to crawl for 400 yards on our hands and knees and while holding a bow. And then or have to run up a mountain. Like I shot the world record Grant's gazelle, and the only way we tracked him for 12 miles and we could not get close enough. He stayed away from us. And then he came up over this mountain and it flattened out. And the guide says, we're giving up. I'm like, no, I can go and kill him right now. He's like, no. And I'll share the truth. It's so funny. He's like, no. He's like, no. I'm like, think about it. He knows we're tracking him. He gets the advantage when he's on top of the mountain. He'll know he's safe. He won't go as far. He's like, well, you're on your own. He's like, and so I'm like, guys, come with me. And we sprinted up this mountain almost a half a mile. And when we were running up the mountain, the guide looked over to my other camera guy. He says, if he gets a shot of that thing, I'll give you a blowjob. Because he was so convinced it was wrong. So I get up over that hill. Sure enough, he's like looking back and he's like walking, but he's like at 118. And so I draw back and I shoot him. And I kill this.
It's a long shot.
It's very long.
118? Is
Long.
that normal?
No,
That's
not
a
at all.
long
No.
shot.
Yeah,
It's
most
very not
shots are like
normal.
20 or 30, but
Yeah.
it was 118. So longer than a football field.
Yeah.
And I hit him and he goes right down. It was amazing. And then we come over the hill cheering. And the PH is like, he's like distressed. And I'm like, why are you upset? He's like, I told your cameraman I was going to give him a blowjob if you killed him. So it was really funny. But we had a good time. But the point is with the fitness aspect,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, because I had to run up half a mile up rocks and then control my breathing and get my heart rate down to where I could be stable enough to freehand and shoot one of the longest shots I've ever taken. And if you're not in shape, I mean, you physically can't get up the mountain, but then to be able to calm everything down to be able to make those shots, it's so hard.
And then pack it out. You're talking about lifting and carrying an animal on your back for miles. Seems
it
like
can, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, my deer this year, same thing, 250 pounds carrying on my back, but it's not like walking on a track. You're like stepping over logs, uneven terrain. You got these big, huge boots that are terrible.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, here it is. He's like, this is so funny.
Oh my gosh.
He's like,
look at you.
are you kidding me? Look at him. He's like, oh fuck.
I love how that guy told you, nah, you're on your own, Thad Castle.
Yeah.
Go have fun. Get up there.
It is actually funny you guys brought that up in the last podcast because him and I have almost the exact same stats. Like I'm 6'3", he's 6'3".
You look a disturbing amount like him.
It's like, I should be
Absolutely.
a
Alan
stunt double.
Richardson.
Yes.
Look at full of Alan Richardson. That guy has kept himself in stupid good shape.
I know, even
Like-
back in the Thad Castle days.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
He always looked
It's
great.
also because you got like blonde hair, big grin, like it's like indistinguishable.
It's so
Yes, yes.
Oh my god, it does look.
Oh my god.
That is actually hilarious. Well, I guess if they ever need a stunt double, there I could be one. I guess.
You say
Hey,
yes.
when they make a movie about you, he'll be the lead.
There we
actor.
There we go. That's what we show
that
him.
would be crazy. But
Have you found that the fitness community has embraced what you guys are doing? I mean, is it because I don't know? I mean, I know. I'd like to think I know a fair amount about the fit. I don't know if it falls into the.
that's a great question, and I think Sarah could definitely answer this best because she
Yeah.
lives in both worlds like a lot, and so do I, but more Sarah, I think.
I mean, I think people just like us and they know that we are real. I do know that we've converted a lot of people, maybe not to be hunters, but to at least understand it and defend it. Like our favorite video on our channel is his leopard hunt because one, it's a very taboo animal, but it does such a good job explaining the conservation of Africa and showing like all the facets that we've already all talked about. And so I think just because of that, and because we're not just because there are some people, there's people in every industry who just kind of make a bad name for the other people doing the good in the industry. But I think because we tell the story, we show in real time where it's going. We show the recipes, we show our kids being involved. We've converted a lot of people. I have like women message me all the time. Like, I wasn't into it. My boyfriend is. You've got me into it. I think, too, it helps, like, superficially, this might sound really silly, but, like, now that the hunting community and the hunting companies are, like, catering to women, we're no longer having to wear, like, a hand-me-down. Like, the clothes are now actually fitted. The clothes are really nice. You see this kind of revolution of these moms that are homesteading and wanting to, like, do more with their kids and, like, provide more.
Oh yeah,
And-
that's
Yeah, it's
huge.
And now
That's
it's
huge.
like, oh, you also now, okay, you're making the sourdough, you have the chickens. Oh, now you're also hunting on top of it. Like, that's really cool, especially as a mom to be able to like provide for your kids. And then we're lucky enough to be able to take our kids on some of these trips and like all the time, like our son will get a boo-boo and he just turned 3. So he, of course, looks at photos and stuff of Africa and we talk about it a lot, but like he'll get a boo-boo. A lion bit me. I'm like, a lion bit you? Yeah, from Africa. And I'm like, oh, the lion bit you from Africa. Just like how his brain works. And so it's so cool to be able to like introduce people in a way that's not like this hillbilly, like, oh, well, we hunt deer and if you don't, then fuck you. You know, like it takes it to a point where it's like, okay, yeah, it's especially because we bow hunt. And so I feel like too, that adds the element of like, this is very difficult. We show the respect for the animal. Like there are a lot of videos where that's
Oh yeah, you
The-
can see that hole we were telling you where its organs were coming
Oh
out.
my
if
gosh.
you go back, you'll
was that
see it when
was
it's
that
running.
the guy you arrested?
Yeah,
The dude you just took down?
See that
there
blood?
You can see it.
Oh my gosh.
To see that in real time was like,
So that's an example of the
horrific.
machete where it missed the spine,
Mhm.
and so that animal. I mean, it's just
yeah,
terrible.
that's
And it
that's
looked pregnant.
gruesome for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
which is sad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I
very.
mean, to just be able to like share, and then because it does go so hand in hand, like, yes, fitness helps hunting, but also hunting for us is like, it helps our fitness because you rebuild and you grow from the food that you're eating. And so if you're able to eat deer and turkey and elk and antelope, like we haven't bought meat from the store since we met.
I mean, the Indians knew it. I mean, you are what you eat, right? The old proverb or saying, it's cliche, but I mean, you build tissue from the nutrients that you put in your body. And so you're eating McDonald's all the time, well,
Yeah.
then your tissue is going to be made up from the amino acids and everything from McDonald's. Like, why wouldn't you want to be made up of elk or crocodile or bear?
Mhm.
I mean, that sounds way better. You know,
Heck yeah.
leave the chicken to everyone else.
Yeah.
And again, we eat chicken too. I'm just being facetious
Yeah.
here, but it's
Oh, but
exciting.
Yeah.
there's definitely truth to the fact that, I mean, wild game meat is leaner. It's more dense. Yeah, I'm half speaking, half watching this.
Yeah,
This is,
this
so
is
these
the
are
poachers we cut.
those are
Yeah.
poachers.
Yeah,
Yes.
we're filming right now. I mean, the game scout told us not to film because I think he wanted to beat their asses.
Yeah.
I was going to say, my gosh, is he going to shoot him?
They got 30 years. Was
Yeah, they will for sure.
Oh,
They
for
had
sure.
a lot of meat.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah, and it's
This
based
is-
on how much meat.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Oh my. Is that
So-
all? Is that
and-
hide?
No, it's meat.
Just meat
They're
hanging.
drying it.
Meat just hanging.
They're all alcoholics typically, and they just sell the meat to get drunk. It's really sad.
Wow.
They're not doing it for their family. They're not doing it. Like if we caught a guy and he killed like a zebra and he's like trying to feed his family, like it's a little different. That is all for marketing or all for selling.
All
And
for selling it,
Yep,
yes.
they'll go and
But
sell
then
it.
you
get-
also have like the difference again between poaching and hunting. When you hunt, you only have so many tags. So we could only get 3 wildebeest while we were there on our licenses and stuff. Here, again, it's that imbalance of like you're taking too many. There's no balance of this ecosystem. And then on top of that, you're not paying for it. And on top of that, you're profiting from it. So you're taking this natural resource away. You're making a profit. You're not harvesting the ones that need to be taken. And you're not, you're not contributing in any way.
And you're doing it in such an inhumane way where you're going to roll up and hit them with a machete, as many as you can hit.
At
That's how
night.
many you get.
At night when they're sleeping and bedded because they can't do it during the day. That's during the days when they go back and pick all the meat up. So they're killing them at night when they know us as hunters aren't out there because we can't hunt at night.
But the anti-poaching team is patrolling all night,
Yeah.
and they still do that kind of stuff. It's crazy.
That is
Yeah.
crazy.
And it's just sad. And we have a unique perspective too, because back in like 2016, we got accused of poaching ourselves. And we were a part of like this big deal in Nebraska. And so it was so weird for us because we just hunted at a place where they were doing a whole bunch of bad stuff.
Mhm.
And so they made us out to be like the biggest poachers of that area. Or like they called us like the ringleaders of this poaching thing. And it was so bad. So originally the articles that were written about us, they actually replaced my name with the owner of the outfitter. And so then all these articles got written as if I was that guy, but they misplaced our names. And so then so it was
Responsible journalism.
Oh, yeah, I know.
At its finest.
Yeah.
They don't care about truth; they care about clicks, And
Oh,
so,
it's so true.
so then, of course, we sue and we do all this stuff, but it takes years, and we're still doing all that.
You
But-
still got defamed, and it's
Yeah,
already still
well,
out there. Yeah.
yeah, and so it's messed up. But no, the problem was we went through that whole process, and we fought them all the way to the very end.
Mhm.
And for us, we did end up pleading guilty to conspiracy theory, and so we've been involved on that side of it. The conspiracy thing was, I was like, I don't understand what this is. They said, oh, you should have known better about hunting there. You knew things weren't being done legally there, and you went back. And I said, that's illegal. And they said, yes, it is. So I guess if you go to a party and you see people doing drugs at a party illegally, and then you keep coming back to the party, that's conspiracy in a sense. And it's
And
illegal.
where did this happen? You said
In
Nebraska?
Nebraska, in
What was
20
it? What was being done that was illegal?
He was finishing deer off at night with rifles.
Who is he? Your guide?
The guide was.
The guide was, okay.
Where we were hunting.
Not with us, but with
yeah,
other clients.
with
I
other
get it.
clients.
I get it.
And which I understand morally, like a deer gets wounded and it's laying out there in the sand hills,
Uh-huh.
and he's like, I'm just going to finish it off, which is illegal. It was mortally wounded, but I understand his moral dilemma with it.
I've never understood that law because I've been on guided hikes where the same thing. It's like we see the animal. They're like, well, you can't knock. You can't even bring a weapon out there.
Yeah. And so that situation I understood, but some of the other stuff was just not okay. Like shooting.
But he did his time.
Yeah.
He did his time. He served in
Yeah,
in
he went to
jail.
prison.
Yeah.
He did?
Yeah. He went to
For
prison.
like
It was
10,
a big deal.
10
For-
months or something.
Oh, yeah.
Holy
It
cow.
was a
Oh,
big
yeah,
deal.
like
and so the
federal.
problem was
For
is-
finishing animals off at night.
Well,
there was a few more things.
there was other
like-
things like baiting. See, we film all of our hunts, so we didn't bait. I mean,
Yeah.
because obviously the bait would be right there.
Sure, right, yeah.
But it wasn't illegal to bait. So they had tons of pictures of us dumping feed on the ground. And so, but you could hunt 200 yards away from it. So I'd be dumping feed on the ground. We'd go down the fence row, 200 yards and hunt down there. And so what ended up happening with the whole situation with I think it's important because your audience is going to see this stuff.
Mhm.
And it's kind of important we talk about it because for us, that whole experience, like also transformed who we were in our advocacy for anti-poaching and everything else. We didn't poach anything. We didn't do anything wrong, but we were very front.
If we had, the federal government would not have dropped the charges against us.
Yeah, because
like,
they
I was about to say, if somebody was going to get caught for this, I mean, you guys are all over social media.
They would
have
a big
taken you
trophy
down.
for them to try to take us down. We fought them for like 8 years. And then right a month before trial, they brought this deal that said, we'll drop all the poaching charges, baiting charges, every single hunting violation, we'll drop everything. I said, good, that's the way it should be. Because they knew they were going to lose the case is what was going to happen.
Sure, yeah.
But what we still would have got hit with would have been the conspiracy, because we knew something wasn't right, and we were guilty for what we pled guilty to. Like deer coming back still warm that got shot in the guts. I'm like, that's kind of weird, because usually it would take 8 to 10 hours for them to die. And so there was some strange things. We'd seen tree stands over corn piles, stuff like that. So like,
which is not 200 yards away. It's too close.
And then like his other guide, and I could say this because he's dead.
Yeah.
He would show up drunk and pick me up. And he said he was out shooting does with his high-powered rifle. And I'm like, dude, what the hell? And so he was kind of messed up in the head. He ended up
He got killed by the police.
Yeah, he got killed by the police.
Like a standoff at his house.
Yeah.
Dude, it's so deep. It's so deep.
It goes super
and there's
deep,
some
but-
really colorful characters inside of hunting. There's no point even refuting the fact that within the world of hunting, you have a lot of really sketchy people, a lot of criminals, a lot of crazy guides, a lot of guys that are on drugs, a lot of people. I mean, that's the problem with the industry as a whole, is it's not all responsible hunters.
Every industry's like that. You look at literally anything, there's bad people, good people. And honestly, the guide was not a bad guy. Like I'm making it seem he went to prison. He was a good dude. He was a close friend of mine. I mean, the dude's awesome. He just let his clients do whatever they wanted. So these guys wanted to go shoot stuff at night. So he like let them. He was kind of like, he didn't stop anybody. He would 100% let me shoot deer over feed if I wanted to. But we were filming, obviously. So, and he never tried to get me to do anything illegal or nothing. So I don't hold anything against the guy.
Sure.
But the articles written about us and all that stuff with that specifically, all of those were written because they replaced my name with that dude in the beginning. And so we sue them, we do all this stuff, and it's going to get fixed, but it takes too much time. They do retractions and all that. But anyway, I think it was important to bring that up because for us, with us kind of transferring, like that was 10 or 9 years ago, or whatever.
Oh, wow.
Time. It was a long time ago. But for us, like seeing that aspect of it, like it really made us want to step up and like do our part with the anti-poaching side of things and bring as much to the world that shows like, hey, hunting is a great thing and it needs to be, broadcasted to.
Is that when you made this shift in your content and in your like really focusing on poaching?
Yeah.
Well, I think the bear kind of sparked it because there wasn't enough backstory into, like, you watch that video and it just goes right into the hunt. Like there's no like, hey, I was an academic All-American. I threw javelin in college. I practiced for 200 hours and destroyed $10,000 worth of targets throwing this freaking spear into these targets. So like there was no like.
I wanted to make a viral video on it.
And it worked. Yeah, it worked. You did that.
It worked.
Did.
Not
good
job.
And then the Nebraska thing happened. And so it kind of was like, okay, we really do need to, because you just don't know what video is going to go viral. And so you don't want someone's first impression of you to be like, no, you don't need to spend 45 minutes explaining conservation in Africa in every video. But it is good to just have that backstory and have that information. And we've got the platform, like we have the largest outdoor YouTube channel. And so
I think the hunting channel.
Yeah.
At least bow hunting for sure. We have the largest.
Yeah.
It's biggest one I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
And so it's given us the platform to explain things. And because we spent so much time in Africa, like when you're on safari, you're sitting with your PH for 16, 18 hours a day. And it's just you two in the car. And no one else speaks English. So, you guys have a lot of time to talk, and just the amount of information that they have and all of the experience, like the infield stuff that they have with dealing with poachers and dealing with conservation, and like hearing like so many of them are advocates for CITES and all of these other laws and stuff, like because they're the ones in field. And so you learn so much information. And obviously there's no way for us to sit here and spew 10,000 hours worth of conversation. But if we can somehow condense it and just like bring light to it, because even as hunters, we had no desire to go to Africa.
And we just didn't know like how important what we love to do was.
Yeah.
And so that's where we're just trying to use our platform.
There in particular.
Yeah.
Like we literally did not want to go. We were in New Zealand hunting with two of our friends, and they're like, hey, we're going to Africa in 2 weeks if you guys want to come with us. We've got this friend. He's got an outfitter there. He'll give you guys a really good deal. Because like at the time, we barely had any money. We'd just gotten married. And we're like, well, like, yeah, like maybe we'll go shoot like a warthog or something, just like to go and experience it. And I'm so glad we did, because it really opened us up to hunting Africa. And now, like, the other day we're like, let's go live in South Africa for 6 months and just like be able to hunt and do all these species. There's so many species in Africa,
So
and
unique things. And
so
so for
many
us,
unique
like we're trying to use our platform on the fitness side as well to kind of be that example of, hey, this is what we know, and we're trying to share this with you so we can change the whole narrative of what trophy hunting really is, just because we understand the importance of it. And if you look at it objectively and honestly, I mean, it's common sense. Of course, that's exactly what works. But to these people and the non-hunters, we're not trying to convince the extreme leftists, I guess you could say. It's not really leftist in terms of politics, just left on the idea of trophy hunting, which I mean, some of you guys probably here were on the fence, and those are the people we talk to. Like, those are the people we wanted to they can still make their own decision, but at least know all the facts. And that's where I'm glad we've had the journey that we've had and the experiences that we had with the bear and the world turning against us, and then the hunting backing us, and then the hunting against us again with the Nebraska stuff. And then we're just through the gauntlet, of life. And we've came out the other side now. I feel like it's enough time has passed, and we'll still get stuff from time to time. But I mean, your actions speak a lot louder than really anything. And so for us, we just always want to be that example. So our philanthropy work has went through the roof. We've donated now, I think, over 100,000 meals in Africa, which is cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Very school awesome. Supplies, and we're in the process of trying to build a school right now, which is really cool. In Africa, we like Africa because we've done stuff in the States too. Like, we've donated. Oh my gosh, I wish you could find this picture of us with how much we donated to the military. Because we own a nutrition company, Bowmar Nutrition, and so we spent. I don't even know. I mean, there's pallets, cargo. Where would that even be?
Fuck, that would, I don't.
I can show you guys pictures, but it was
for sure.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, millions of dollars in product, which is cool.
Yeah.
And but then we started, we co-founded a nonprofit called Kids in the Outdoors. So we actually work with the McBees, and we take inner city kids that would never get exposed to hunting, fishing, outdoors from like in Kansas City, and then we take them out to the farm with a bus, and we teach them how to fish. We do archery tag.
The horseback ride. They get to pet like the amount of kids who like on the bus were like, look, a cow, like had never seen a cow for the first time. Like,
wow,
yeah,
that's great.
The McBees are from that reality show. What was it called again?
McBee Dynasty.
Yeah. Steven would be a really cool cat to have on, because he was part of Joe Millionaire too. He was one of the Joe Millionaire. Have you
really?
Yeah.
Pull up this page, bud. I feel like I know the name. I'm just trying to. Elephant Unchained. This would be the really good one to send to him.
What was it?
Stephen McBee.
Yeah. So
MCB.
His whole family's
right
super
there,
cool.
one.
There we go.
And so this guy, he was
sick.
He was a helicopter pilot too, which is cool. But he's a close friend of mine. But they're on the McBee Dynasty. It's kind of like Duck Dynasty.
Yeah.
So it's
a
really
really
cool.
good show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Think Yellowstone, but Missouri.
Got it. Okay, I dig it.
Yeah.
No. Oh, Yellowstone's great.
Yeah.
But so I reached out to him. I said, hey, I'm wanting to start this foundation where we take. He's like, dude, I'm already doing it. Let's do it together. And I was like, hell yeah. And so that's kind of how it all started. And so then we had our first couple events, which was really fun. And so we try to do a lot of that philanthropy work too, and give back. We did a lot, even when we had no money. We did this, like with socks. We would donate socks to women's shelters. We did like 600 pairs. Turkeys, like Thanksgiving turkeys. One year we could only afford 27 Thanksgiving turkeys, but we went to a church, and this is great. People are like, well, I want to make a difference. Go to like local churches, especially in the city, and ask like, hey, do you have any families that aren't going to have Thanksgiving this year? I'm looking to sponsor a few meals. And even if it's only a few, we could do 27 at the time.
Yeah.
And so we've always done that, and we try to be good examples of all of this. But the problem is some things that go very viral aren't always the best outlook on everything.
Probably
like,
most.
Yeah.
I mean, most things that go viral.
Yeah. Like if you pull this up when I shoot a baboon at 90 yards, you say all this, these are great people. And then you see I posted this, and it just wrecks the whole thing. So what do Bowmar Bowhunting baboon? This is so messed up.
Who's this on? Hang on.
Right there. The 2.2 million, the short.
The short is what.
Oh yeah.
90 yards with a bow.
So this is 90 yards with a bow.
Okay.
I wish you could hear it, because it is so much worse.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, it was so bad.
Amazing.
It's so bad.
Dude, what a shot.
right through his heart. And then I did this so messed up. So
So we might have learned nothing from the bear at the
Yeah.
same time.
This was after the bear?
this was like
last week.
Oh my
so
gosh.
It's just so bad. No, it was like a month ago.
Oh,
If you could hear the audio of it, is so messed up.
does he scream? Does it scream? Yeah. Because they scream.
Look at the
Yeah.
other two.
Oh my
They're
God.
just like, I'm out.
Yeah,
You're like,
we're
The
done.
baboons are horrible creatures.
Oh, they're
like if you would
mean.
see the locals, they steal the people's babies, rip their guts out. I mean, they'll take a human baby to a top of a tree and just throw it off.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
they're
mean,
insane.
They're
They're
nasty.
mean, nasty
But-
animals. Yeah.
But I say all that because you're like, oh, these are painted, and then I do that. So I think I have two sides of me. That's just one
there's
is just
still-
this wild animal,
Hey, listen.
and then I'm still trying. You
There's,
know?
there's nothing wrong with a few controversial clips every now and again, even if people are mad. Make them mad. Like,
I
stir
know.
the pot. Seriously.
It's
I mean,
not bad.
No,
you
it's
know?
not bad. And listen, yeah, maybe you get a dip in the metrics, or maybe it goes up. You get the court of public opinion's mad for a few
Yeah.
days,
Yeah.
but then guess what? Nobody has any attention span. It all goes away.
No,
It's so
they're on
true.
to being mad about the next thing.
Everybody
Wow.
forgets.
So-
It
Yeah.
always does.
Yeah.
It's no, and we've learned that a lot with your podcasting. We kind of just went no holds bar with everybody's conversation with everything coming, especially after Derek. I'm like, say whatever you want. Who gives a shit?
I was
Nobody cares.
wondering because I couldn't figure out, like, when I was watching your podcast and stuff. I'm like, I wonder which way he leans publicly. I'm like,
Good.
and I'm like,
Good.
Good.
I'm like,
That means I
doing
did it
this on
right.
purpose. And Brian, I was like, oh, when he brought it up with Brian, I was like, he ain't getting out of this.
Yeah.
And you weaved your way right out of that. And I was like, you savage. I'm like, I love that for you.
I've always strived to find myself. I definitely find myself more. It's not always a right or left thing, but I do
Sure.
find myself on the right side of things most of the time. But
I think if we're all honest, most of us with common sense would be on the right, but there are things in the left that make sense too. And it's not like what's perfect one way or the other, but that's what's just so funny for me. Like, because Sarah and I are very right wing, I guess you could say.
sure, yeah.
But it's like there's other stuff that, I mean, like you said, I like it when someone brings up something. If they are super left wing, I'm like, great, I want to hear. Because for me, I want to know like different perspectives. I don't like just living in my own echo chamber.
No,
And so it's
Not
always
at all.
fun to do these kind of conversations. So I was hoping, like, I want to do a podcast sometime with an anti-hunter. I think it would be really fun.
Oh, it'd be
And,
great.
and just, or a vegan that's like against hunting, or
Just a
some,
PETA member.
the president of
They're not
PETA.
going to do it.
That's the problem.
They're not going to talk to
Right,
you.
like,
Like, no way.
right.
I love that. And I you inspire me with that way because you have conversations with everybody and you
Oh, yeah.
somehow weasel your way out of ever admitting one way or the other. And I'm like, you bastard.
That's a high compliment. The fact that you don't know which way I go, because
I
I
know.
intentionally do that. And I'll have, I'll
It's
have,
so great.
and sometimes you'll get somebody who's like, why didn't you, take a stance on this and that? I'm like, well, because I wanted to hear what their stance was more than mine. Like, I know what my stance is. I know where I'm at on
Yeah.
almost all issues that come in front of me.
Yeah,
But-
exactly.
Yeah, it's not about me. Like, at the end of the day, the show, and that's the best part about being kind of on the receiving end of a podcast, is you get to kind of talk about what it is that your thoughts are on whatever subject it is in front of us.
Yeah.
But if you are the one kind of giving the experience, you just kind of get to absorb and just
Yeah.
learn and listen. And everybody, it's like, again, free mentorship is kind of the way we
Yeah.
treat it. It's like you get to learn whatever it is that this person's been doing for the better part of their lives.
Yeah.
It's you get to hear from them, because
Yeah.
usually they're a lot more educated on the subject, almost always. And if you're honest with yourself, usually your guest should be smarter than you in whatever subject it is
Oh, that makes
that
sense.
they're doing.
Yeah.
I
We
mean,
should
even-
have done more fitness. I mean, because then
We didn't even
then
touch
you'd
on
be
it.
way smarter than that. That'd be great.
Oh, I don't know, man. You got it together. You guys both have done amazing on both. I love the crossover, and I love what you guys have done. Thanks for doing this too, for coming on. It was awesome.
It's been great.
Appreciate you guys making the trip. That's the longest podcast we've clocked by
Oh.
far. What is it? 2 hours?
2.5.
2.5?
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
that's the
Oh,
longest
wow.
podcast by
That's-
at least an hour that we've ever done. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well,
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys having us. This
Yeah.
has been so fun. And I'm
Yeah, it's a
super
blast,
impressed
man.
with your place, man. If
Thanks,
you
buddy.
live anywhere, if anyone listening to this lives anywhere near, you have to come see
No,
this.
seriously. We're
This
going
is
to come back
insane.
just for this.
I know.
it's
Let's
amazing.
do it. Let's
Yeah.
do it. Come back another time. We'll do another whole training
We
thing.
could do a
Yeah.
fitness one.
No, we
Yeah.
We didn't even touch on
Fitness
fitness.
podcast. We
Crazy.
could do the hikes. We could do the recovery stuff.
Seriously.
That'd be
Yeah.
perfect.
We'll plan it. This will be
Let's do
perfect.
it.
It'll be
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. I
Oh,
appreciate
thank
it.
you.
What is up, guys? Hope you enjoyed that episode of Becoming the 1% podcast. Josh and Sarah Bowmar. You hunters are going to like this one. It's amazing. Definitely getting into conservation, getting into the really just the behind the scenes world of hunting, in particular trophy hunting. It's probably one of the more educational ones on this subject that I've ever had. In fact, no, this is certainly the most educational one that I've ever had around this subject matter. If you guys enjoy that, there's going to be more episodes just like that right here.